Welcome to the American Forked podcast. We are a group of friends who grew up together and been looking at the state of the world and thinking this kind of sucks. People will call each other names and make fun of each other, but then they don't like hug each other afterwards. It's really weird. And we do that. So we think we're going to be a shining example to the world of how people should act and how people should be. And if you don't like it, then
get over it.
It's too bad. So
hate each other and then love each other.
And we're also comfortable saying I love you to each other.
I'm going to go around real quick.
And touching each other's butts.
Mm-hmm. And touching each other's butts. Okay. I'm going to go around real quick and just introduce everybody. My name is Phil. If I could tell you a little bit about myself, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
He's also a vegan.
Otherwise known as Mormons. I think I'm one of the very few people here who have stayed in the church. Everyone else is
You don't know.
left.
You don't know which.
One of the three here that have.
One of the two that are here.
Bolter's not here.
So,
does that say a good thing about you? Because it sounds like you're just getting hit and going back.
No, it's
be nice.
Awesome.
Be nice, Trent.
Yeah, Trent.
He's got God on his side.
God is on my side. That's why my microphone is gold. I would describe myself as pretty moderate politically, maybe a little bit right-leaning on a lot of topics. And I like to go backpacking. I'm a musician, and that's about it. Tyler is a Native American, lives in Blanding. He's got black hair. He's 5'7".
Wait, you're telling about
He's currently
everyone?
flossing.
199 pounds.
You're only 5'7"?
87.
Where are you getting this information?
Oh,
from?
I don't know.
He saw your driver's license.
I am a good solid 5'9". We'll put it that way.
5'9".
In heels.
Anyways,
solid
no.
5'9"
All right.
means
In my heels, yeah, solid 5'9". Yes, I am Tyler. Native American, also gay, and I provide the diversity quota for this little group of ours.
Wait, what?
5%
You're,
is the quota.
You're gay?
I'm currently flossing right now, so yeah.
And he is flossing. Devin is here with us today. Devin is a computer engineer that programs things on the interweb.
Yep.
You make him sound
guys.
so cool.
He uses the interwebs.
Anything else you'd like to add to that, Devin?
Nope, that's perfect.
All right. Jacob's here. He's probably, I would describe, a bit more right-leaning.
A bit more?
He fell on the right side.
Yeah,
He's laying down on his right side.
He's actually the captain of the QAnon Society of Utah. So he'll have some good stuff to talk to us about tonight. Jeff is
Keep it
here.
on, Jeff.
I'm just going to hijack you right now.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like you're going to lie. My name is Jeff. Oh, edit. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff.
I'm 6'2".
I'm 6'2". I enjoy long walks on the beach, and I am scared of large turtles.
All right.
That's a conflict.
Like it.
What do you do when you see one on the beach?
I run. They're not fast.
And last but definitely not least is Trent, who is a newcomer. This is his second podcast here, but now he's indefinitely involved because he's already signed contracts to stay here until perpetuity and
For all time and eternity.
all time and eternity. Trent is into hot rods and fast women. And what else?
You pretty much nailed it.
Contract
let's
was
just
a
stop it there.
$37 million 6-year contract.
Right.
37 million.
He's got to stay.
I hope to
years.
blow a Hemi this week and just go home.
A Hemi?
Yeah, blow a Hemi.
So last week we spoke a little bit about Andrea Ocasio Cortez.
Oh, you got two of them
That's
right
really
this
close.
time.
He's
Yeah.
reading
Alex,
it and still can't do it.
Alexandria Ocasio Cortez.
I still think you messed up on the
Why
middle
don't you
one.
just go AOC like the rest of the world?
AOC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, I know her.
AOC claimed that she was afraid. So she actually didn't. Beagle last week was saying she did show up to the inauguration, but that was not real. She actually didn't show up. And I'm about to prove it right now.
You know what? I don't feel like we need proof. She just didn't show up, right?
It's easy to prove there were only about 200 people there.
Wait, I thought she was there, but she was wearing mittens with a mask on, folding her arms.
With their legs
Yeah,
crossed.
she's admitted she was not there.
Oh.
You knew that people would ask why you weren't there. This was a good cause from your perspective of dealing with your constituency, but this was supposed to be a show of force and unity, and you weren't there. Explain it.
Yeah, I think we also had very real security concerns as well. As you mentioned earlier, we still don't yet feel safe around other members of Congress.
How many are we?
And I think a very considerable amount. A lot of members do not.
You
feel
really
safe. In
think
fact,
that
just
colleagues
today-
of yours in Congress may do you dirty?
Yeah, well, one just tried to bring a gun on the floor of the House today. I believe it was Representative Andy Harris of Maryland. He tried to bring in a gun onto the House floor. For individuals who don't know, guns are not allowed in the District of Columbia, and certainly the House floor is there are separate House rules that prohibit the bringing in of firearms. Now, these are rules that date back to the Civil War, and these are individuals that are trying to sneak firearms either illegally or in direct violation of House rules. Why does a member of
Kind
Congress
of getting sick right now.
So I'm just going to cut it off there because there are a number of things that I found when kind of looking into this. One, guns are not illegal in the District of Columbia.
She's done.
Wait, she didn't. Did she say that?
Yeah.
They're not
I
allowed.
thought she just said not in the Capitol building.
No,
No,
she
she
said
said-
District of Columbia.
Yeah.
Um,
DC doesn't allow
Next, there
guns.
are House rules that allow guns to be brought into the chamber, which is why they were being brought in. I guess it was pretty recently that something changed about that like they were reinstated or something like that.
So what's the
But-
rule? That anybody can just bring a gun in?
I think so, yeah. And so the thing now is Pelosi has put up these metal detectors because she's going to fine congressmen who bring guns in because I guess she can't prohibit them from bringing them in.
How can you find them if you can't prohibit them?
Because you can't make it illegal, but you can set a rule and say, just remember when we were talking about faithless voters, how the electors can vote for someone other than the people voted for them.
Mm-hmm.
If they do so, it's not illegal. They can, but the state can fine them if they do that. So
AOC's this like dumb bitch who just buries her face in the toilet when she takes a shit. She just loves the smell of her own shit.
yeah, it's a little bit clickbaity, but like I'm afraid of a lot of members of Congress, so I'm not going to.
She doesn't feel safe
Yeah.
being on the floors of Congress.
Right.
I have a feeling that this lady, OCD, what's her name? Whatever her name is, the 3 acronym letters, she's never shot a gun. Like, she can't even be in the same area as a gun? Like, is that really what she's saying, that she didn't show up for the inauguration? That's
Well,
ridiculous.
this is also the same woman who said eliminate the cops and then the inner cities will look just like the suburbs. They asked what life without cops would look like, and she said it would look like the suburbs.
So all the fences would turn white. They'd all be picketed.
Yeah.
Everyone would drive Suburbans.
Of course.
And everything would be fine.
Yeah, prescription
Well, I'm
drug
actually
problems all
fully
day.
on board with that, but I feel like it might not be true.
So here we go.
I'm on board with it.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Thursday said lawmakers who, here we go. It's up on the screen here.
Nancy Pelosi looks like a demon, like a bad person from G.I. Joe, or like she looks like a villain, right? Especially
Yeah.
with a
With
mask.
that mask.
mask
on,
on,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
What is that dude from Ninja Turtles?
Ninja?
Ninja. Yeah, it's the Asian
Shredder.
version.
It's Shredder.
Shredder?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like Shredder.
Yeah.
Anyway, on Thursday,
Agreed.
she said lawmakers who want to bring guns into Congress for their own protection were a danger to their colleagues, declaring the enemy is within the House of Representatives. And I think the idea behind a lot of these congressmen bringing the guns in is obviously they just had this huge event where people tried to attack the place and storm in. So it would make sense to me that they would have guns in there. I don't know. What
Here,
do you guys think there should be guns on the House floor or should there not? Like,
We had a president participate in a duel like 150 years ago. Do we really care?
yeah, who was that? Was it
Aaron, no.
Brockovich.
it was Aaron Burr,
That wasn't president. Aaron Burr and
Alexander Hamilton.
but that's not.
but he wasn't
Neither
president.
one was president. I
That's
don't
right.
think we've had a president.
Here's the
Well, but one has participated in one.
Who?
No, before they were president.
Who?
I
Abraham
guarantee
Lincoln,
there's been one.
There,
I'll look it up.
there probably has.
Franklin
I don't-
D. Roosevelt,
I just don't know.
There has been one for sure.
John F. Kennedy.
Barack
Before he was
Obama.
president.
But I mean,
Okay, here's a little higher concept question. Do you think that if you flooded like the United States with open carry guns, do you think things would be safer or more dangerous? Like, because I feel like
I don't know.
OCD lady is telling us that if she saw more guns, it would be a more dangerous situation. And I think the exact opposite. I think you're not going to walk in and start messing around with someone that's got a 40 on their hip. You know what I mean? And just you're going to respect those people. And especially if 13 other people in the same establishment have a gun on their hip. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think more
Look at
guns means more respect and safety or less?
Look at that church in Texas who the dude got like 2 shots off before 4 guns were pulled.
Okay, so Devin, you're a little bit more left-leaning.
I'm definitely not left-leaning.
You're way more than us lying down on our right side.
Where's
So-
Bolt? He can be Beagle.
So if I can, and we can cut this out, but you don't own a gun, right? What? No
Right.
guns.
Don't own a gun.
What's your opinion on Congress people having guns on the floor of the?
I don't have an opinion on it, but I did just pull up the United States Capitol Police.gov website, and it says right here, firearms are prohibited on U.S. Capitol grounds, even if someone has a carry permit from D.C. or another state. So is she not correct?
She's saying DC.
She said D.C., so maybe that's what she was.
Well, it actually
thinking.
says
She said
firearms are
both.
prohibited in the District of Columbia and on U.S. Capitol grounds.
I had
even if
heard that
someone
as
has a
well in
carry
DC.
Oh wow!
maybe if
But that's on US. So this is USCP, United States Capitol Police.gov. So I
well,
assume this is.
that's pretty legit.
I assume it's legit.
People can't have firearms anywhere in the District of Columbia.
Which is really
Well, I
interesting.
know you can't carry firearms on a federal property.
Well, it says firearms are prohibited, and I don't know if that's saying you can't own them or if that's just saying you can't carry them around.
You just can't carry them.
So like you can own them, you can take them.
Oh,
in
you
your,
can't carry. There's no.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe you can take them in your car to the shooting range, and that's
Now-
fine. You just
So
can't
what was
carry
that
'em.
last part about concealed carry though? What didn't it say? Even
It just
if you
says
have?
even if you have a concealed carry permit. So
From
you can't take them on
any other
Capitol
state.
grounds, even if you have a concealed.
So
carry
it doesn't
permit.
say concealed carry permit from DC.
It does from
It does.
DC or another state.
So that's what I don't understand. If it says so, if you have a
prohibited in
concealed
DC.
carry permit from DC, but it's also saying you can't be in DC with a concealed.
So
carry.
again, what I'm assuming is this means you can still own a gun, but you just can't carry it into most places.
So
any public
basically,
place.
you can have it on you in your house and conceal it, and you're not illegal. Basically, is what's saying.
or have it in your car, or take it with you to the gun range.
No.
You just can't go inside a public building.
No,
is probably what it means.
Coming from experience, the rules are your car is actually an extension of your property, and it is your house. So you can leave a
Not
gun
in
It's-
every state. but
Definitely
in a lot
not
of
your
cases.
house.
No, I'm saying it
your
is
car.
an extension of your property. And in Utah, at least, you can keep a gun with or without a permit concealed in your car because it's just like putting it in a closet in your house. It's
But
an
not-
extension of your property.
Not on a federal property in Utah.
So let me ask you, because you guys have got concealed permits. Because as I understand, when a cop pulls you over and you have a concealed permit, the first thing you have to tell him is,
No.
"I've got a concealed
If you have a
permit."
gun on
Have-
you,
no,
Right.
no.
you don't have to. No,
No,
but
you don't have
should.
to. It's advised that you do. Now, this is
okay.
in the state of Utah, which is one of the most like easiest to get a permit and very gun
More
friendly.
Wild West than any other state.
But
pretty much.
it is advised that you tell them, but you do not have to. Now, the truth is, if they pull up your driver's license, they know that you have a concealed carry permit, and they may ask you, "Are you carrying?" And it's probably smart to tell them where it is and whatnot, but you don't have to legally tell them.
So, anyways, though, back to AOC's comment, I think I agree that she seems like she's like posturing and that she's not actually afraid. She's trying. I don't
No.
know what she's trying to do. She's trying to make some kind of a statement or a point or whatever. But it sounds like she's not wrong, factually at least, about what she said.
She's always just trying to be something slightly different than everybody else. That's
Yeah.
all she's ever doing.
Except Bernie Sanders. She's trying to be like Bernie Sanders as much as possible.
I think the problem is just like anybody that's very anti-gun, and I would argue this, that anyone that is very anti-gun has very little to zero gun experience. They think, like the Happy Gilmore thing where it's like guns don't kill people, I kill people, right? That idea of like people are actually in control of guns.
Which is
guns
true.
are not the problem.
If you
the
have a
people
loaded
that
gun
have
on the
them.
counter and you never touch it, no one will ever die.
Nobody, unless you let your monkey out of the kennel and it gets the gun and shoots you.
Who's the monkey?
Do you have a monkey at your house? Never mind.
I'm not going to answer that.
But my point is, like, the guns are not the problem. It's the people that have the guns. And I think that OCD thinks that just having a gun in her presence is somehow some danger to her.
So you think, Jeff?
I don't think she thinks that. I think she's just trying to. I don't know. She's trying to make some kind of moral like statement or something like.
I think the statement, just saying like the other people that she's in that room is her
Yeah,
like
they're
is
the
her
bad guys.
is
They brought
weird.
guns.
Yes, the other people storming it, great. I understand that, but to say like, hey, all these other people that have been here the whole time, now I'm this worried about that.
Yeah.
I think that's a little crazy.
So there's some
And she's not. I don't think she is worried. She's just
No,
pretending.
no.
to
I
be-
mean,
to
I
make a
100%
point.
agree with you.
Yeah.
So there's some contradictory stuff going on here because I'm still not understanding how they're saying you can't have a gun in DC even if you have a DC carry permit.
Yeah, the wording on
and
that's
if
really
the
weird.
congressman,
is weird.
if it is true what she's saying and guns aren't allowed in DC, then and these congressmen are breaking the law when they bring the gun onto the floor, like they would be charged, right? So what?
So
where is the disconnect there? Like,
So on Wikipedia for gun laws in DC, it says open carry is not allowed, but you can own a gun. You have to have a permit to have a gun. Just open carry is not allowed.
and it does say that there are permit or what's the word? Concealed permits. Here, let me pull it up for you. Right?
Yeah.
So wait, what? Someone who knows this stuff better than me. What exactly
So
is
right
open
here,
carry?
license.
So open
required
carry
for
that
means
concealed
you have
carry.
a gun in plain sight, but it's not loaded.
It's like
Well,
cowboy
it
holster
says-
on the hip.
But it says that's not allowed.
So
Yeah, so you can't.
So this
just-
means you can own a gun and you can carry it from place to place in
So-
a concealed way.
So yes, exactly.
So-
But you still can't have like ammo ready to go. Like I know in your car, if you carry your gun in your car in Utah, there has to be 3 actions to be able to pull the trigger for it to be
Meaning
legal.
it has to be
So you have to have,
safety
like, the-
on in a case.
Say bullets out of it, shell out of it. You got to load the bullets into the clip, put the clip into the gun, cock the gun. 3 actions,
Okay.
and then pull the trigger. So in a lot of states, that's what it is.
but just to clarify, I
Is that the
recently took this
same-
class.
No, sorry, is that the same as with a concealed carry? Do you have to
No.
perform those? No. So what's the
Concealed
difference between
carries can be
concealed and
locked and
open?
loaded. One trigger pull, it's done.
So, but let me clarify something. So, open carry in the state of Utah, you have to have, you cannot have a statute. It's called statutorily unloaded, which means there's not a round in the chamber. You can have a magazine in. You have to rack the slide on a semi-automatic or pull the trigger back, but it has to have 3 actions. Those actions are remove from the holster, take your safety off, cock, or no, I'm sorry, not even take your safety off. Remove it from the holster, cock it,
round a chamber.
pull the
the
trigger.
trigger.
That's 3 steps.
Right.
Okay. But if you have a concealed carry, you can open carry ready to fire, meaning you can pull it out of your holster and pull the trigger and a bullet goes out of it. So there's some differences there, and it isn't very clear on Washington D.C. of what's going on. And the truth is, it's probably a bit insane because it's Washington D.C. They're not gun friendly. That's established, and they probably change the rules
I don't think
constantly.
there should be a bunch of gun-friendly stuff around the Capitol either, though. Like
I
there just
agree.
shouldn't be a bunch of people with guns. Why do we need that?
I don't. I'm on the
What are they
opposite end.
hunting in DC.
But I'm on the opposite end where I think if it was more like the Wild West and everyone had a gun, I think there would actually be less crimes and less things happening. If you remove guns from an area, the only people that have guns in those areas are bad guys because they're always going to have
But
sneak
DC
guns
is
in.
such a small spot to do that in. Like, what's the problem with
You know-
just saying this little spot? No.
You know, it's absolutely true. I
so-
have no opinion on DC. Don't care what they do
So
over there.
let me ask you something, because sometimes we have these like protests, right, where everybody brings a gun to the protest, like
Right, the
a
one they
bunch of
did down the
rifles
street
and
here.
things like that.
BYOG.
Have you guys ever heard of? I'm not saying there never was one, but have you ever heard of one of these protests like getting out of hand and people like shooting each other, like a big massacre happens?
No.
Like, isn't that interesting that when people get together unarmed, it's really easy for a fight to break out, right? Like that's almost natural to happen. Some guys start punching each other, maybe some more, maybe some things get thrown. But if everyone's armed with deadly weapons, isn't there like kind of a mentality to like, whoa, I got to be careful what I'm doing at all times and how I
totally disagree
treat
with
everyone
this.
around me. You don't think so?
I'm so into guns, but like that implies that anytime you go to like a sports thing where you're rooting against someone else, there are a lot of fights, but at the end of the day, you get punched once and you move on. Like,
Yeah,
right, but that's
just
what I'm
how it
saying
is.
is like, and I'm not advocating for everyone to take guns everywhere.
See,
or
I
even-
am.
Right.
Jeff is. I am. All
See,
advocate
Jeff is-
that.
Here's the
I'll be on
comparison
that
I
side.
have. So you go to the Trolley Square right now, the mall here in Salt Lake City.
Trolley
you walk
Square's
around.
a mall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should go. It's pretty
What
neat.
would you call it?
I'd call it a square.
Okay, so you go to the trolley.
has
Wouldn't
like-
call it a mall.
That's like 20 or 30 stores.
It's got a solid 20 doors that have things inside of them.
Okay.
I am
Anyway,
pretty
Trolley
sure you're missing
a
the
mini
point.
mall. We'll call it a mini mall.
All right, I'm here for
And
this.
country
So
dancing.
for Trent's sake, we're going to change geographic location. Let's say you walk into the Fashion Place Mall. Is that okay with you?
I also don't know
He
why you're
also
in
doesn't
Fashion
like
Place
that
Mall.
one.
We're going to walk into the Fashion Place Mall at this point.
Trent,
okay?
what's your favorite mall?
Oh my god.
Trent's very
That's another-
opinionated on malls.
Actually, do like
Another
Fashion Place Mall.
topic.
His favorite.
I'm just going to raise my hand until you guys are okay.
Go ahead,
with me
Jeff.
talking. Okay,
We're
thank
ready
you.
for you.
So you go into the Fashion Place Mall.
Go on.
Or the Southtown Mall. I don't care what the mall you're going to. All right.
Gateway.
So, oh my god, it's getting to that point where
City-
I actually
City
don't even.
Creek.
I don't even know what point I was trying to
Okay,
make.
Phil, finish the thought you were on.
That's where
All right, so Tyler.
Yeah.
So I don't think I actually know what you're on the more liberal side of things on a lot of issues, but
He's Native American. He
but
doesn't
what-
believe in guns.
What are your gun opinions?
What do you think about boomsticks?
Boomsticks.
These?
Isn't that what Native Americans
like
thought
did you
guns
grow
were?
up around guns? Did your family have guns? Did you?
This got so racist.
the
I'm
internet.
so here for
The
it right
internet's
now.
sucking again.
My parents, I personally don't have to have guns. My mom and dad have hunted before in the past, so I have no issue. You want guns? Go for it. If you don't want guns, that's fine.
But you don't own guns. You don't really intend to ever get any.
No, maybe if Trent takes me out sometime, we might get a gun.
To
You
go
just,
shooting?
you just want to go out with Trent.
All the time. All the time.
Are you talking about these guns on Trent?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, those are some guns.
Those are the guns I prefer.
I
Let's
was-
be honest.
I was
Those are
gonna-
the guns.
There you go.
I was going to ask, do you have a
18,
permit for those
20.
firearms?
Oh my god.
18 inches, 20 inches. Those are the type of guns I'm all about.
So Tyler, real quick, what do you think? Should congressmen have guns on the floor? Should they not?
I think they should not. Personally,
Should not.
The
Okay.
congressman could have a gun and shoot someone every time they enter the Congress, and they would still do less damage to the fucking American country than what they're doing when they're voting in there.
That's probably true.
When do we have the? Wasn't there the same argument with teachers? Should
Yes.
teachers have guns?
That was a big
Wasn't this-
argument as well.
I think that teachers should have guns.
Okay.
So next topic. There's this
What? What, Trent?
House Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. Have you guys heard of this girl?
No.
Nope. I think you made her name up right now.
So everyone's freaking out at her because she is claiming that the California wildfires were started by some kind of like solar satellite ray shooting power into the,
That's a
into
good
the earth
conspiracy
or something
theory.
like that.
Like
That's a
harp?
Good, yeah,
So-
that's a good
Like she
harp.
thinks foreign government
Who's this
So-
person
actually
that's
like
married to
shot a
Beagle?
laser.
No, not a foreign government. So I'm just going to read this because it's too difficult to explain. It's a little bit long, but
Because it's psycho.
But you'll
Oh,
get
she's
it.
the one that's wearing the black mask that says censored on it.
so here, let me pull it up so you guys can.
She is.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I want
I
one of
think
those.
so.
Is this the
I'm
QAnon?
excited.
No, I'm not making
is
it
this
up.
the
I'm telling
QAnon
you.
lady?
I want one of those.
I think so. So from what I could read about her is she got elected because she told everyone, "I promise, I'm not QAnon or what anon,
QAnon,
QAnon,
I'm not cute.
It's like
anonymous.
Like
Just think about the word anonymous.
QAnonymous, cuneiform."
You're going to read
Any
that?
word
I'm
that's-
posting this in speculation because there are too many coincidences to ignore, and just putting it out there from some research I've done stemming from my curiosity over PG&E stocks, which tanked all week, then rallied Thursday night after California official announced they would not blah, 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 blah. Where's the good stuff here? Let me get down to it. Burning in the same projected areas that the $77 billion high-speed... I can't see from Trent's mic.
I have a feeling that there's not a good section in this.
There it is. Hang on. I'm going to skip down. They announced the launch into space in March 2018 and maybe even put a transmitter to convert to electricity. The idea is clean energy to replace coal and oil. If they are beaming the sun's energy back to Earth,
this
I'm
lady's
sure
just
they would.
Dr. Evil.
Could that cause a fire? I don't know. I hope not. That wouldn't look so good for PG&E. Anyway, she's saying that...
Scroll back up.
She says that they're gathering solar energy in space and shooting it back to Earth.
What about this part that says, geez, with that much money, we could build three U.S. border walls. There are oddly enough people to say, what this chick is like, her inner monologue has taken over her Twitter page.
Yeah, like it's
just Twitter paged.
It's a little bit wild. And now, to her defense, she's not... what is that?
Is that the loudest thing ever?
To her,
Yeah.
Are you again with you? What? To her defense?
Why do you have a bag that you're...
Who are you? He's got Mary Poppins' bag with the noisiest things ever in there. Like, I brought someone and taken away. I don't know how he got them back.
I'm about to pull out a frog.
So in her defense, she's not like coming out and saying, I'm accusing these people of burning down the fire.
In her defense.
It's like all this like... why does this all look so weird? I don't know what could be happening, blah, blah, blah. But it's a little bizarre. Like,
why do you feel like defending this?
I'm not defending it.
No, you literally just said in her defense.
This is a common conspiracy theory that a lot of people...
Oh, it is.
Like
common.
Thank you, Devin. This is common?
Yes, a lot of conspiracy theories believe that the wildfires in California were started with lasers from
So there's
space.
2 people
Freaking
out of the
lasers.
6 that know it's common?
No.
What?
Have you heard of this?
2 out of 6?
Devin?
I am the
So-
conspiracy.
Have you heard of
I've
this?
never heard of it.
So I've never heard of it either. And that's why I brought it up, because this is a congresswoman who is saying that the fires in California...
Wait a second. In that image, she looks slightly like Trump.
No, that's not
She
her.
did look just like Trump.
I think
the
it's
female
this
version.
girl right
It is.
here.
Yes.
What a terrible description of yourself.
Huh?
But that you look like Trump?
Yeah.
Anywhere-
How terrible would that be if you're like scrolling through a photo in your photo album, like, oh hey, you look like Trump.
Anyway, apparently this same woman...
Then Tyler would believe in guns.
Apparently the same woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, liked somebody's comment that said Pelosi should be shot in the head or something like that. So now everybody's in an uproar, like they want to kick her out because she's inciting all this violence and everything like that.
Oh, my God.
Which kind of takes us over to...
Also, you probably shouldn't say that.
That kind of looks like Trump, right?
It does.
You're pointing at something on a podcast.
Maybe it's like Trump's cousin.
Everybody see that?
Don't worry.
Right. You see that thing, imagine it looks like Trump.
Just sign up for our Patreon. We'll
So-
post this.
So anyway, as our next news thing for the week, the impeachment officially started this week, right?
It stopped, right?
They Congress took it right over to
The
the
House?
Senate and the House. The Senate.
Are you? The quietest thing is so loud, and you're in the neck of the woods.
You got it.
Don't forget to flush. Jeff.
Sorry, what were we going to do? We're going to
minute-
send something over to the House?
What minute is this that we can edit out?
Jeff, let me know when the steaks are ready.
So Congress took the impeachment articles over to the Senate, which means they can now begin the trial, but they're waiting. They're not going to do it right away. We don't really know why. McConnell said something. They said something, which I don't really understand because I was under the impression that the Senate was now controlled by the Democrats, so they could just kind of push forward whatever.
It's 50-50.
It's 50-50, but they have Kamala to override that.
Well,
So
only if every single Democrat votes in line.
But they also have Romney.
they do also have Romney.
There it is.
So I don't know if we've...
What?
Every episode.
Nothing. Just the Romney plug.
So we talked about this a little bit before, but I wanted to get everybody's opinion on this impeachment. Is it necessary? Should we do it?
Garbage.
You think it's garbage?
I think it's garbage.
And they should just stop. They shouldn't do it at all.
I think it's garbage and that they should stop.
Okay.
And they
They
shouldn't do it at all.
And they shouldn't do it at all. Do you also not think they should do it?
Why don't we
Devin?
just
Who are
kill
you
him?
speaking to, Phil?
Devin or Tyler or Jake?
I think it should be. I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell said he thinks that members of his party should vote their conscience. He said he's not going to push anyone to vote one way or the other. And I think that's fine. I think have the trial, everyone vote their conscience. We'll see what happens. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I personally think that it's kind of dumb. But I'm also really interested. Like, I'm interested because, the Capitol was attacked and 5 people died. And so if there's actually going to be a lot of investigating behind that and evidence presented and given,
That could be good.
then I would be interested in knowing what happened.
I think the House voted, and that's what happened. Whether you agree with it or not, they voted. He's impeached a second time. So a trial has to happen. So let's see what happens.
So the trial is going to happen, but Rand Paul this week more or less single-handedly killed the whole thing with this speech, which I'm actually going to play right now. So Rand Paul gets up and gives this speech right before the Senate votes on whether or not to throw out the impeachment as unconstitutional, which we know by now that
it's not going to happen.
only 5 Republicans voted voted against it, which they're thinking what that means is there's no chance for the impeachment to go forward.
Now, before you hit play, I want to just describe this picture to all of our listeners. So we have a very good-looking man here who's got a very nice haircut, but he has got a mask that says "Do Good" on it, and that is a Cotopaxi mask, which is a Utah-based company.
Oh, really?
Hashtag start the clip.
Oh,
Why is
okay.
his hand so small?
And
So-
underneath that mask, he has a mask on.
He has a small dick.
So I wanted to play this too because I really like Rand Paul a lot. And I would think if there's any politician that my politics have identified with the most over the years, it would definitely be him. So if you're wondering,
You're
listener,
not Republican.
I wouldn't describe myself as a Republican. No,
But the rest of the
right-leaning
world for
moderate,
sure
you
would,
said.
right?
But we would describe you as one.
maybe.
Based upon everything you've ever said or voted for.
This impeachment is nothing more than a partisan exercise designed to further divide the country. Democrats claim to want to unify the country, but impeaching a former president, a private citizen, is the antithesis of unity. Democrats brazenly appointing a pro-impeachment Democrat to preside over the trial is not fair or impartial, and hardly encourages any kind of unity in our country. No, unity...
I'm going to describe his hair right now. Well, two things about him.
In between
This
bites of
is Ron
licorice.
Paul. Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. Yep.
Rand Paul. I think he would look better with a mask on, number one. Number two, his hair be curly for a white boy.
Be curly.
His hair be curly.
Excellent.
Okay, that's all I had to
This
run
travesty
with.
we are about to witness. If we are about to try to impeach a president, where is the Chief Justice? If the accused is no longer president, where is the constitutional power?
Hey, can we pause it?
Yeah.
Does anybody know the answer to that? Why? Why did it get switched from the Chief Justice to whatever?
So I think it's because historically, when impeachments of judges have happened after their term, like they find out afterwards that they broke the law or raped some people or whatever, the Supreme Court has sat it out because the Supreme Court's opinion is impeachment is for removing somebody from office. And that's what he's kind of saying is that the reason the Supreme Court is sitting it out is because it's not really a constitutional thing to impeach somebody after they've come out of office in that legal mindset. Now, there's obviously the other side that says, well, of course we have to be able to censure or do something to people who we find out about things afterwards or toward the end of their term. We got to be able to do something. So,
Yeah, why wouldn't they be able to do something? Like if a week before you're an asshole and you make a bunch of dumb decisions like he did, why? Why not?
No, I think everybody would agree if this was some crazy heinous thing that everybody hated, everyone agreed that this is a terrible thing. I think everyone would be fine with this.
well, and if it was a terrible thing, wouldn't they just prosecute him? Like if Trump walked up and shot somebody 2 days before he left office.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything like that. You're getting a little extreme with
And
that.
I think they'd probably try for both. So they do both. They'd prosecute him so he could go to jail, but they'd also do this so he could never run for office.
Because
again.
if they are a felon, in theory, they can't run anyway.
Republicans
right?
should want him
is
to
that
be
the case?
impeached.
I'm assuming just because they can't own guns, I would assume they can't run for
That's
public
probably
office.
the case.
But
Yeah.
You should want, like, as a Republican, Phil, you should want him to be impeached because you touched my fucking dot.
I'm not a Republican, Trent.
Because you don't want him to run again in 4 years. If he runs again in 4 years, the Democrats are certainly going to win because he's going to take a portion of the votes away. So you should want him to be impeached. They're stupid for not wanting him out.
It's not that I don't want him to be impeached because I think he's off the rails, which I think he is. But I think the impeachment itself is not warranted.
You feel like Trump's
so-
off the rails.
And let me.
So a felon can run for president.
Oh, they can. Okay, so they can't own a gun, but they can run for president.
And in a lot of states, they can't vote.
And they can't vote, but they can be the person
But let's
everyone
be-
votes for.
Let's be honest,
But
though.
not a
apparently.
foreigner.
You can totally be the president and be a felon because you can't even carry a gun in Washington, D.C. anyway. So who cares?
There you go.
Right? It
There you
all
go.
works out.
Anyway, listen up. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Impeachment is for removal from office, and the accused here has already left office. Hyper-partisan Democrats are about to drag our great country down into the gutter of rancor and vitriol, the likes of which has never been seen in our nation's history.
Rancor is like intense,
I think rancor is
not
actually
irritability, like angriness. I guess.
isn't rancor actually a character from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They had
You're thinking
Bebop,
of
Rocksteady, and
Rocksteady
Rancor.
And Rancor, yeah.
Rancor is a monster in Star Wars.
Rocksteady, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Rancor in Jabba's palace down in the basement. Luke has to fight him.
That is so awesome.
Oh, that's the big thing that
Yeah.
he pulls
like-
the thing down
yeah,
on.
the Rancor. We just went over that.
There you go.
And the meaning of impeachment does not say it's got to be somebody in office.
And it also does not say that the purpose of impeachment is for removing someone from office.
Right.
That's listed among the reasons.
Right. So he's being a fucking jackwagon.
Well, no, he's already impeached before he left office.
Well,
Certainly, but he's saying you can impeach someone that's already left office. You for sure can.
so
right.
so listen.
and he's also saying that the purpose for impeachment is removal from office,
Which is not the case.
Which is only one of the possible
Certainly.
reasons.
Well, I
for
think we have a
so
solution
what
here.
would be the purpose then?
This says on Wikipedia that the purpose
No, I
is
mean in this scenario with Trump.
to stop him
prevent-
from running again.
prevent him from running again.
I
So-
think here,
Which obviously you can't run. You fat fuck can barely walk.
So do they need to do an impeachment though? Can't they just say?
No.
Can't they just vote? that
Listen,
he
this is
can't?
what we need
no,
to
they,
do.
they can't
No.
just vote him to not. No, they need, like, you have to impeach him to make it so he cannot do it again.
So are they trying to impeach him a third time?
Second.
No,
Because he's been
No.
impeached.
no. So we
twice.
keep everybody uses the word impeached to mean the whole thing. I think technically impeachment is what the House does, right?
It's just
Which
when they
already
set-
And they
happened.
did it twice.
right.
And then the Senate votes to, I can't remember the wording is, to convict or acquit, essentially,
Right.
but that's not the right wording. So the Senate is voting to say, yeah, we agree. He's removed from office, and here's other punishments.
So
that
this
go
is the
along with it.
Senate part of it.
This is the Senate part of it.
I think
This
at
is the important
hence
part.
my-
of
Here-
it.
here's the thing. I think at this point we either do one of two things. We just let Donald Trump be in Florida or do whatever he's doing right now, or we send him to Jabba the Hutts and put him in the basement and have him fight Rancor. And whatever happens, happens, and that's it at the end. That's it.
Is that
Done.
at the end of this video clip that,
I
he
think that's what
suggests that?
Rancor's
Paul's-
coming up. Here we go.
With their new majorities in the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, Democrats are wasting the nation's time on a partisan vendetta against a man no longer in office. It's almost as if they have no ability to exist except in opposition to Donald Trump. Without him as their boogeyman, they might have to legislate and to actually convince Americans that their policy prescriptions are the right ones.
This is who you identify with?
Yeah.
Good for you.
You don't like that?
Do I like his made up story?
So-
Not entirely.
He's saying that Congress, or I'm sorry, the Senate is wasting time impeaching Donald Trump instead of having to be accountable and making policies.
No, that's what you say when it's all said and done and you're like, listen, I did some shit back there. Can we just move on?
No, what I'm saying is he's right. Like, how much time has Congress and the Senate spent how much time has our government spent railing on Donald Trump and spending so much time going after him these last 4 years that
Almost
they
as
could have
much-
spent on actually legislating?
as much as the media.
I agree. It's a waste of time.
I think it's a little bit silly to say that they're wasting their time on this instead of legislating. This
Jeff.
will take up a very small percentage of their time. They can still legislate and do this. It's not that hard to do both.
No, and at the end of the day, if it's the right thing to do, who cares if it costs a couple $1 million?
Rand Paul's the best.
I guess that's the question: is it the right thing to do?
And let's move on.
Next, we have Devin, who is going to
No, not
Fill
next.
us-
First.
Who's
That was
gonna
the intro?
who's going to fill us in on what's going on with this.
Start off with Devin.
Yeah.
Devin's,
The world's longest intro.
Devin's going to fill us in on what this GameStop thing is going on. I actually don't know a lot about it. Something about some kids that got on the internet and said, let's buy GameStop.
Nailed it.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay, so
Pretty much exactly. What
go ahead, Devin.
Okay.
Lead us on.
Not necessarily kids, people, adults on Reddit found out that a lot of Wall Street companies, and one company in particular, were heavily shorting GameStop. And they decided to screw that up by everybody investing in GameStop at the same time to
Well, there's more to it than that.
ruin that short.
Because
that's the start of it.
Well,
That's
people
how it
got
going.
really inspired because the dude who sold Chewy to Petco, he all of a sudden bought a bunch of stock. It ended up becoming 51% and taking over GameStop. All of a sudden's in charge, and then people jumped on board.
Doesn't that sound so much better?
Chewy and PetSmart.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so I don't know a lot about stocks or anything, but my understanding is if you short a stock, you're essentially telling people like, "Hey, this stock's worthless, don't buy it,"
You're betting that the price is going to go down.
Right.
So you're borrowing a stock from someone else.
Or up.
So you'll buy it. You're essentially buying a stock from someone with a promise to sell it back to them in the future. You go and you sell it, and then you try to buy it back in the future at a lower price because you're assuming the price is going to go down, and then you make the difference in the money. Does that
That's
make
a
sense?
You're
short,
basically
so
betting
that's a
that-
short versus
That's
a put.
As a short, yeah.
A put is the opposite, where you assume it's going to go up. I just want to make sure I'm not breathing into
Oh,
this
that's
too
better.
much.
There you go.
Wow.
All right, I'm new at this, Mike. Okay, Just give me a minute.
Yes.
Someone do a quick intro of Brian.
So Brian's here. He's our official hamburger restaurant joint manager.
He's
and
waving.
He's into writing novels and going to walks on the beach in Florida during podcasts.
Yeah,
What else?
that's it. That's pretty much it. And I have tiny hands, so I'm going to run for president eventually.
He does have tiny hands.
And he's not Brian
and you love
Prescott,
burgers.
just in case you're wondering.
Brian Prescott.
He's not Brian
So yeah,
Prescott.
if we really
that?
want to do a full intro
Exactly.
on who I
Nobody
am
is.
and how Trent and I met, let's not.
Not
How
met.
about let's not go
not,
over that
yeah.
because
He walked into the burger establishment, and I said, "Hey, Brian." He said, "Do you even know who I am?" And I said, "Yeah, you're Brian Prescott." He's like, "No, I'm not," and walked away. It's like, Brian Prescott's a fucking dick, man. Turns out it wasn't Brian Prescott.
I was an angry guy. Oh my goodness. And it's still that angry guy's still somewhere in there.
You didn't know each other before.
I mean, we knew
The
each other,
burger
but we
place?
weren't friends. But he was not happy about the
So
conversation.
quick, I guess, intro. I really am late to the game for this friend group. Like most everybody else, either was in scouts together or things like that, and you guys knew each other in junior high. I really didn't join the group till like junior year.
Yeah, 16 when we started
Oh,
working
was
at
it?
JCW.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
plays together.
Oh yeah, that place.
He had a car, so we let him hang out with us.
Yeah, no, I was the chauffeur, and I let Phil drive once.
Oh, that was the
go very
biggest
well.
mistake.
Backwards at
decision.
40 miles an
Twice.
hour in
No,
the ditch.
that was when you allowed me to coach you to drive.
You tried to
Drive twice.
in our
both
Go
in our
faster, go faster.
1984 Honda Accord, and he's trying to beat people off the
Didn't
line.
you park it into the Union Park Avenue like gutter, getting onto the freeway?
No, that was
University Parkway.
University Parkway.
Yeah.
the exit there.
I did.
The entrance.
The freeway entrance.
It still drove after that.
But
I mean, it needed a new radiator, but it was
Ran
fine.
over like 12-inch boulders.
Sideways, 60 miles an hour.
It was awesome.
It was awesome, but not as awesome as when you drove the car backwards.
You betcha.
at least as fast,
Where-
and then
do you even
swerved
have the
off
footage of
almost
that
into a
Film.
lake.
We need to find that footage.
No, into the river, into Provo River.
And then pretty
Almost.
much almost had a stroke. Like he's like shaking and like, oh my gosh. And he like climbs out the window and falls on the ground. Like, oh my gosh, that was priceless. Wish you could see it, listeners.
So
Okay,
GameStop is
all right,
going
So back to
crazy.
the topic. You were explaining. You wanted to explain.
Well, it's just shorts and puts, and it's just a matter of one is if you think the market
One's
is,
betting
or
it's
that
gonna be low.
specific
this just
stock is
shows
going
what
to
like
suck.
the new social media can do to the world
Yeah.
if enough people
So-
get behind
but it's
it.
all
So,
bets.
so these big companies are shorting GameStop, excuse me, and a bunch of people on Reddit found out about it and thought we're going to ruin this for these Wall Street bros, and they started investing in GameStop stock, and so they inflated the cost of it, so their shorts didn't work. They couldn't sell for less money. So this one company in particular lost so much money they had to go back. They're declaring bankruptcy.
Well, and they had to not only that, when they had to start buying more stock, so they had to exaggerate the issue too. So that company had to go in and buy more stock because they had all this money against it.
And people from Reddit inflated the stock. They said like 7,000% or something like that.
Right,
Some
it was
huge
on the
number.
level of like Amazon and Tesla.
So it just went up by a
I
ton.
actually was owning some stocks 6 months ago of GameStop.
Oh,
and
you sold it
so,
prior?
well, I bought it at $5 and it
probably
went up
was
to
up to-
$7. I'm like, sweet, I'm out. I made 40%.
Right.
And had I just held on to it, like I just bought 100, so it would have been $45,000 versus the $500.
Oh my gosh.
I bet your
So
wife
the-
is so happy about
So
that.
the thing I don't understand about stocks is when the price goes up, like Tesla's stock just exploded, right? So are a lot of people selling stock during that time? Like,
No,
can't-
you don't
Some are
sell
selling.
during the peak.
right? So
Some do.
So what does it matter if it does get high in value? Like if it has a peak like that, because are a lot of people going to buy it when it's really high?
Yeah, I mean, if it's going up and people think it's going to continue going up, then yeah, they'll buy it even if it's already high. If they think it's going to keep going up,
Or they'll sell because it's high and they made money and they're like, oh, I don't think it's going to go higher than this, so I'll sell.
Yeah, Bolter made $2 because it's fucking GameStop. Stop. They shouldn't have like this huge peak like they did.
It just seems dumb to me.
I think the thing that
what?
The whole
Stock manipulation.
stock market.
Well, and
everything.
And me and Trent were talking about this earlier. Is like you invest in things that make sense to you. If stock market doesn't make sense to you, don't put money in it.
Yeah, well, and that's how I look at it. If I had money to invest in anything, I would like go to a company like around the corner and be like, I want to invest in your business so that I have like a connection.
So like the BYU Creamery.
Yeah,
everyone
BYU
here,
Creamery.
everyone listening can go to our Patreon
Criminy.
at American Forks.
Cremenemin.
and invest in American Forked.
But yeah, this whole thing where you're like betting on like these range of stocks and trading them and stuff like that.
The intent is more than just betting on stock to make money, although that's why people invest. It's also you're literally gaining partial ownership in the company.
Right.
So if you
own huge percentages, then you actually can sit on the board. and
yeah,
have a
you can be on the
say.
board and had right.
So there's kind of three categories of people who buy stocks. People are just going to invest for long term. So that's really what it's
Retirement.
designed to be.
Yeah.
For retirement. You're like, I like this company. I think they're going to be great 10 years from now. I'll just buy it and hang on to it. Then you have the other group of people who want to buy into it so they can have control over parts of the company. And then you have day traders and hedge fund managers that they are just trying to manipulate
Right.
the lines.
money.
They're just trying to make
within a
money.
matter of a few days.
Right.
Yeah, so that is the main thing where it's broken, in my opinion. The ability to day trade, where you can buy a stock and sell it less than a minute later and make money off of it, is
Right.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's already set up in regulation where if you have less than $25,000 in your brokerage, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to sell a stock the same day you bought it
Right.
more than 5 times within a week. Then, because if you do that and you have less than $25,000 total dollars, then they freeze your account. So why isn't it just the case for everybody that you can't do that?
So here's kind of the bigger question though that I wanted to bring up with this is, so these people on Reddit have found this new power that they have where we can screw over Wall Street bros, right? If we notice that people are starting to short some company, we can invest in that company and ruin their short and make them lose a lot of money.
Right.
And apparently they're now doing this to Bed Bath and Beyond and what was the other one?
AMC and Cinna, whatever.
AMC.
BlackBerry, Nokia.
So some companies that are starting to go down. So
Neither of
anyways,
those.
One,
BlackBerry
serious.
was, BlackBerry
Oh, is it
was one of the
really?
ones
Yeah,
Oh,
it is
that
it's
happened
like, what?
during the GameStop time. BlackBerry
Well, I mean,
was another one.
you could take this back before all of this crap to like Family Guy. I mean, Family Guy was done, and then everyone started buying their thing on whatever, like all of the DVDs at Walmart, and they came back. Like this is essentially that. Like the people are driving something.
except I feel like the difference here is they're doing it just not because they actually value these companies.
yeah.
They're doing it because they want to screw over Wall
Right.
Street.
True.
So they're not actually providing a benefit. They're just trying to screw
Yeah, they're
over
not. They're
Wall
not
Street.
buying stock
Because-
and going to GameStop.
Well,
to buy
isn't
stock.
that-
GameStop is probably not going to go anywhere. Like it's a physical store that sells games. Like this has been moving online for years.
Right,
Unless
right.
GameStop changes, they're going to go under. So these people who are buying these stocks are not even getting a value out of the stock because
True.
eventually this is going to stop working. So they're literally just wasting their money to screw over Wall Street. So it sounds cool, but
Unless
is
they
it?
sell and they made a bunch of money and they just got out, and who cares at that point?
Yeah, if you got in
isn't
and
that
out.
what Wall Street is doing in the first
Right.
place?
So that's the point: is they want to screw Wall Street back because this is what Wall Street does, but they're not actually providing a benefit.
So,
So what's
is
the
this going to lead
benefit-
to change?
Neither-
What's the
day trading.
benefit of shorting a stock, though?
You're betting
you're
that the
making
stock's
money.
going to go down.
Yeah, you.
It's just to make money for yourself.
It's a bet.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's not a benefit
But
to.
you still end up buying the stock back eventually. Your goal is that you're going to buy 100 at $10,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to go back and buy the same 100 at $2, and then give it back to that person or whatever.
and then you make the difference.
Right. They bought it from you at $10. You buy it from somebody else at $2. Give it back to them. You made $8 on it.
Phil, it's way too complex for you to understand.
It is.
I think.
Let's be honest.
I think the biggest thing that we haven't talked about yet on this one, and Devin, you may be leading towards it, but it's a lot of most of the smaller investment, stock trading investment platforms like Robinhood and some of the other ones actually did not allow people to buy the stock for these companies.
But you could sell it.
You could sell, but you couldn't buy.
So that is a manipulation in and of itself,
And
where
they've said
that
they're
drives down the
considering-
price.
They've said they're considering shutting it down altogether. Like you
Yeah.
can't buy or sell GameStop.
Sure, like I'm fine with that. Just they intentionally made it so that it's going to lower the price because they're like, oh crap, all these people on Robinhood are the ones driving up this, and it's going to make us look bad.
They saw the storm looming, and so Robinhood and these other small, but like the big ones like E-Trade, I understand that a lot of the wealthy people and Wall Street investors use, they didn't put the limits. It was just the limits on the smaller guy.
And I think to make it clear,
platforms.
the company policy is that they can actually do that.
Sure.
Because there's a lawsuit that came out and that it never went anywhere because these companies like Robinhood said, we can actually shut you down from buying and selling anything that we decide on in their discretion. But I don't necessarily agree with it. It's like Facebook saying we can shut down any account because of content for blah 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 blah. To me, it's the exact same thing as censorship. And for
That's
some,
not censorship.
why
are you mad that you can't go to Walmart and buy a Porsche?
Because I think I
They
should.
don't fucking sell it.
I can buy a Porsche. It's made
Wait,
by
you haven't bought a
At
Porsche?
Walmart.
It's made by Matchbox.
Then you go
Obviously,
somewhere
you go to Costco for Porsches.
It's made by Hot Wheels.
About this
You're
big.
right. That one's on my back.
Please
Yeah.
don't challenge me.
Right.
All right. my point is that they are in every right, just like Facebook and Twitter and everyone, to shut down accounts legally and everything like that. But I feel like it's a bigger thing of like trying to control and stop people from doing things that don't fit with the agenda. I get it. Robinhood CEO came out and said, listen, we were worried about the volatility and like unstabilizing the market because this was crazy.
They took the right route, and now they're getting their dick kicked in. They
Right.
did the right thing.
They were being very conservative, saying we were concerned because this is kind of a gray area of policy. So they shut it down.
But this is one of those things that multiple people like AOC and Ted Cruz agree on. Like, hey, we need to start regulating this. So they found a common enemy now. Right. So is any change going to come
So
from
they
this?
need to regulate the masses?
I think
Is that what
that'll
they're...
probably
No, how the stock market... So they basically need the SEC to do their freaking job.
Which that's not going to happen.
No.
I think this whole thing just proved how the internet has a lot more power over the old style of the stock market system, and I think that there are probably going to be a lot more regulations in trading stock.
Because let's be totally clear,
as a
what
result.
they did on that subreddit is exactly what these hedge fund managers will do over lunch.
Right.
They'll eat
Yeah.
a club sandwich and be like, we're in this cool club. We have frilly toothpicks.
Or they'll call enough people and say, hey, let's all sell right now, so everyone
Right.
dumps it. and we're gonna buy a shit ton in 2 hours.
They've been doing that forever.
There is a difference. The difference is they're doing it because they think that's the best thing for them to make some money, whereas these people on Reddit were doing it just to screw over Wall Street.
Right.
So it's not quite the same thing.
I'm fine with the small guy taking over the other. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
I think it's cool too. I'm just wondering, because there's no actual benefit.
Yeah.
Is this really the right
there's
way?
no actual benefit in a lot of these stocks changing
Yeah.
as much as they do and as great as they do in a day, week, month. There's no benefit in that a lot of the times.
Right. That's the
It's like
hand sign.
I'm recording it.
Okay,
Keep going.
let's
Keep
be-
going.
let's be-
like, of course you're recording it. We're all recording.
Let's remove the candidness that we were just trying to conceal, but bring it on. Ask me.
Oh, Jeff, go ahead.
Jeff found a sober window he's trying to work in.
Can you guys tell me? This is
Colleen, I love you.
Phil.
Love you so much.
Phil. I got a
Go
question
for it, Jeff.
you. Phil, got a question
Oh,
for you.
it's for me.
Okay, here's the question. I'm going to set the scene and then I'm going to ask you the question. You are on death row right now.
Okay.
You are about to be executed.
What did I do?
You're going to be killed. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Listen, don't ask for
I
details.
think we know.
What is your last meal?
Oh my gosh, I've thought about this so much, and I still don't really have an answer.
You have to provide
All I
one.
know is that what I want it to be is I want it to be so good that I experience it in the same way that Hannibal Lecter does when he gets his last meal and he like dips it in some like foreign looking green sauce that he knows what it is because he's like hoity-toity and like eats it and he's like, oh, like his face and everything. I just want to experience those emotions
Fava beans.
exactly how Anthony Hopkins portrayed them.
So you don't care what it is as long as you have that emotion.
It's exquisite.
That
Like
is
it's some
amazing.
He
kind
doesn't
of
even care about his death. It's so good.
it's some kind of like crazy good steak and some kind of sauce that's just like orgasmic. It's just like perfect. Everything about it's cooked like just the way it needs to be. It's hot.
Oh.
It's
Are they sweaty?
sweaty.
Oh my gosh.
Is this admissible as like premeditated? If you kill someone,
Premeditated murder.
I thought out at least
He was
what I was
looking
going
at
to eat.
manslaughter.
I literally, this is so weird because yesterday I thought about this.
Here's
I
the
was
thing.
like, what would I have as my last meal on Earth? Like,
Here's the thing is that I know you love food.
Yeah,
And so that's
I
why I
do.
wanted to ask you the question.
Some of us watch porn. Phil just thinks about his last meal.
I just think about food and my last meal.
Well, here's
roll.
a quick follow-up question because we didn't get exactly
Well,
a detail.
wait.
I'm
The reason
waiting.
the reason I'm so passionate about this subject is because like
Because you're fat.
what do you tell the guy? The guy comes in and says, "This is your last meal, and you can have whatever you want. It can be cooked however you want." What do
Macro-
you say? It's
mac-
like it's so overwhelming.
It's easy.
to, like, to even think about that.
You say macaroni and cheese.
Don't want to screw it up.
Yeah, it's like this is it.
McDonald's fries.
Oh
But
shoot!
you have to say something.
I know, and I can't. Like right now, I can't even. I wouldn't even be able to
Wait.
say.
So
Okay.
they have to get it right. So let's say they screw it up. What's going to happen?
Well, they're gonna-
you're going
what
to be
if it's
dead.
You get another day?
if they
What
screw it up,
returning,
right
returning
chef that
customer
makes it.
policy on
yeah,
this?
if they screw it up, they're gonna die miserably. They're gonna walk in there and be like, "My life sucked." But
You
if
know,
it's
it's
like
gonna give 'em a bad
amazing, they're
Yelp
like, "At
review.
least I had that meal."
That's
Like,
literally the death row loophole. You just say it wasn't that good. No, I need one more day.
Just
Couldn't
like
possibly
They
die.
did not live up to their expectations.
just like any meal that you had, the only thing that's going to happen is a bad Yelp review. All right, Devin.
All right.
Next one. So, Devin, this is a very personal question. I understand your hesitancy in answering this, but I do have a question for you. So, if you had to get away with a crime, like you committed a very serious crime, but you needed help, what group member amongst this group would you call first for help? And why?
I think we all would have the same answer, but I'm
Yeah, I think we all. I think I know.
I
what
have a
you're
very
talking about.
specific answer as
Who
well.
do I think would be the best at getting me out of a crime?
I didn't say that. I said
Just
you've been
for
you've-
advice,
you have
right?
just committed a very serious crime. Who's the first friend that you would call in this group of people to help you get out of that crime?
oh, so you're not arrested.
No, it's
Just
like,
like,
hey,
oh,
Just like,
crap.
Just
You
like,
need an
what do I
alibi.
do?
let me give you an
Okay.
example. Like, hey, Tyler, can you help me get rid of a body? Like that would be a thing, right?
Okay.
So who would you call?
Siri.
I guess it depends on what the crime is.
Okay, you name it. Have fun.
Because if it's like cyber crime, I
Okay.
go to Mike.
Ooh, that's pretty sexy.
Yeah, Mike knows his
So he
cyber
can
crimes.
sleep his way through your trial? Like, what are you doing with Mike?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it Tuesday.
Yeah, I assume he knows how to get stuff off a computer. That's what he does.
If it's social media related, then we know it's Beagle that you need
Yeah,
to go with.
for some reason I needed to know it was on Twitter.
I
to help
bullied
solve
somebody
this
on
crime.
Facebook, so
But if all I needed was someone that I just know would instantly lie for me, I think I'd go for Trent.
Let's be honest. I think everyone at this table and virtually would call Trent.
Devin's like, I'm going to tell him I did it. No, you're an idiot. Why would you do that?
I think this
Dude,
is more
I'll
of a
tell him I
statement
did
than a question.
This is what, Tyler?
They
When you
think that
commit a
anyway.
crime and you need someone to help you hide the body, it is Trent. Next question.
Oh, I totally say that just because
here
Trent
for
has
this.
the least amount to lose out of all of us. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I would beg to differ. Most of you do not want to see your children. I have a lot of shit I'm enjoying.
All right. I think I'm satisfied with that answer because I think everyone knew that the answer was Trent. Okay. If this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, nobody would have used the lifeline. They would have just answered Trent, and it would have been right. All right, Jake.
final answer.
Jake, I asked you this question just because this is the exact question you asked me. What is your favorite memory from junior high?
Okay. Junior high
Yep.
in particular.
Yep.
Is it when your part changed?
My
happened
part
for you in
changed
junior high?
from Jack to the lead dancer.
No.
I remember when you had a
Stop
part
it.
in your
This
hair.
is how I know you're gay. No, when your part changed from the side to the middle, you fucking idiot. Yes.
Well,
Hey,
it
can
was-
we let
it was-
Jake answer this question, please?
It was middle
Thank you.
to side because my mom didn't like the hairdo, so I
No,
combed it on
it
the
was
side.
side to the middle.
Trent, you get in your place. Your question's coming. Jake, answer the question.
Jake, answer the question.
Why are you pointing at me?
What's your favorite memory?
On the spot.
I know it's so hard. You asked me the same question.
I know, but you had an answer.
I know, and it was so hard.
It was a great answer.
All right. Moving on.
No, I think it's generally as a whole the Newsies experience was a lot of fun.
Okay, good. I appreciate the answer. Now hone in on one experience. Can you do that?
I can't do that.
I think you can do that. Remember that one thing?
I will say, for me, Newsies what brought me to you guys.
Ooh, tell us that story.
While it's not my favorite junior high experience, it's definitely one worth regretting. So
It is worth regretting. I think we
To
can
each
all
his
agree.
own. One man's trash.
All right. Are you satisfied with that answer?
I'm satisfied. Something else will come up, but that's what I got for now.
Oh, that's a good answer, Newsies.
Okay, I'll give you a P for passing. All right, Trent.
Yes.
Trent.
Are you hiding a body? What do you
I
want?
have a feeling that you have traveled maybe a little bit more than each of us here. Maybe.
I'd probably say Devin. Maybe.
Okay. Let's not get technical. All right, here's my question. What is the furthest from home, meaning your home, where it is right now, not disclosing states or cities? What is the furthest
Utah.
away from home that you have pooped?
New Zealand.
Yeah,
probably.
New Zealand, Australia,
Did
whichever
you-
of those are furthest away.
Did you poop in New Zealand when you were there?
I was there for 2 weeks.
Australia
so you better
is
believe
the
it.
farthest away.
2 weeks, that's at least 28 times.
No, I go like 4 times a day.
I think you have a problem. 28 times?
Isn't that amazing that I
2 weeks.
exaggerated and it was even way more than that?
Oh, it's for sure more than that. It's like twice before I leave the house in the morning.
I mean, I should have known. You were like dropping your pants halfway off of the school bus,
I had to poop.
running straight to the gutter.
That wasn't the gutter; it was the slaughterhouse, and it was like a 12-foot fall. It was nice.
I miss.
I need everyone to please keep their manners in and listen to Trent's answer.
All right, we're
Before
ready.
Trent-
We did.
We did.
Yeah, Australia or New Zealand, whichever is
Australia's,
furthest away.
Australia's farther
How
away.
many times?
No, the question is,
where?
what is the furthest from home? New Zealand.
Yeah.
How many miles
Australia.
is that?
Australia is
Jake said Australia's
literally
farther.
on the other farthest away.
No, I
from-
think New Zealand is
12,000
further
miles,
away.
give or
I think
take.
Australia in
Yeah.
one direction is closer, but I
okay.
think New Zealand's further
So
away.
on the east coast of Australia, is that the word that I'm looking for, where you start coming around the other side of the planet and you're
I
actually
don't
getting
think.
closer?
I think the exact opposite is closer to New Zealand than it is to Australia.
Okay. Can you describe
Is
the
it?
total?
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Perth, Australia.
Thumb down.
Okay.
Thumb down means move on.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. Okay, that's a great answer, Trent. And you are correct, by the way. You get 3 points. All right, Bolt, I'm just making up a question right off the top of my head here. What is the most amount of money you've ever spent in one store?
In one store?
Yeah. You heard
Like,
me.
does a car dealership
I
count?
asked the hard questions.
No, you have to spend it all. Like you can't get a loan
Yeah,
there. You got to
come
spend
on.
like
Spend
the
it all.
cash.
Like
Well, going into debt is still really nerve-wracking to me. So, the one store
was
probably,
it
probably a fireworks stand. If I was to guess,
how much?
I think one time I spent like $700 on fireworks.
Why aren't we best friends right now? I do that every year. I'm serious.
Yeah, and then my follow-up question is,
thought we
Bolt,
were.
why are you not best friends with Phil?
Yeah.
Why are we not? Well, on both sides.
We went to the same mission.
Oh, wait.
Different dialect?
Messiah.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just
You're
speak-
talking.
we're
He's
speaking.
not doing anything.
Okay, I have a
Okay,
follow-up
By
By
question.
the way, I looked it up, and Jake was right.
What?
Australia's further away.
Is it?
New Zealand.
Yeah, Jake looked it up too.
So when you pooped in Australia, that was
1,400
further
miles.
than when you pooped in New Zealand.
Apparently.
Which way did the toilet flush?
to what part of
Down.
Australia?
Down.
It flushed down.
I was in Sydney.
Sydney. Oh, Australia. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
When did you go to Australia?
Christmas 2 years ago. Christmas of
Just for fun?
19. Correct.
Tyler, say anything you want to say because you're about to be
Excommunicated.
excommunicated. Any last words?
Oh gosh.
No, you
In the
guys
father
are.
and
What
Son.
what game are you playing? That's the question right now. What Nintendo game are you playing?
Are you playing Fortnite?
I'm not playing any game.
Are you playing Grinder on your TV?
playing Dr. Mario?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. In Blanding, Utah, is jumping on Grinder to find out who the nearest person is.
You have a-
500 miles away.
You have a 1 in 3,700 chance of finding
You
your
say
soulmate.
that in a tone like you don't do that.
No, he says that in a tone like he knows exactly how far away the nearest person
Literally
is.
Right,
500
right.
miles is.
That's why you're in such a central location, like a drug dealer,
Yep,
like
exactly.
out in the middle of nowhere,
No,
but you
send
can
wings
get
my way. That's all
everywhere
I
real
have to say. Love
quick.
you guys. I think we should end every podcast with "I love you. You guys are the best. Good night."
I love you. You guys are the
Love you.
best.
I love you. You guy are the best.
Didn't we have
He
more?
left.
He bailed
Didn't we have more segments?
before the battery.
I have so many
Yeah.
segments.
Yeah,
and-
Trent is our last one. So we're going to turn the time over to Trent for a fabulous question.
After
I didn't do
this
mine
musical number.
Jake.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll go
Yeah.
to Jake.
I had two.
That's fine. But you can only do one.
Get it?
The one
Number two.
that the one I was most curious about is how old were you when you realized that adults don't know shit? Like I thought as a kid that every like parent in our ward like had it figured out. They knew what was happening. You just woke up and did like exactly what they planned out. That's not the case.
I feel like it was a long, hard battle for me. You know, like there's like little things over time where something happened and it like hits you in this weird way. You're like, they're supposed to know that, but they don't. Or they were
Right.
supposed to make a good decision there, but they didn't. And it just feels weird.
It's
But
the
not like
adult.
a realization. It was just little things like that over time.
Yeah, it's like the adult version of finding out Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah, but give us
Yeah.
give us an example of what you're talking about. It doesn't have to be real life, but an example
Of
of like these little situations you're talking about when you're like, well, they should have known that, but they didn't. Like how to park a car? I don't know what you're saying.
like anything, just an adult making a poor decision.
Right.
Right? We all make poor decisions every day. Just an adult making poor decisions.
I would say I was pretty young. I think I was like 15, 16 when I realized like my parents were pretty fallible. Like
Yeah, but we're not using your parents as examples. Let's
Like-
not.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah, let's not use Xavier as the
The worse your
metric.
parents are, the younger you
well, I'm
realize
just saying
this.
that's why I mean I love my parents, but
I love your
they're-
parents, too.
They're not perfect. And I'm not either, but so I
I'm pretty
I
close.
entered adulthood knowing that adults, were pretty much making it up as they went along. And so that never was a
Maybe I'm the only one. I did not enter that way. Like my
Yeah.
parents had shit pretty much figured out. Probably
Yeah.
didn't, but
they knew
for
how
the
to
most part.
They knew how to fake it because you were kid number 10.
Well, it's a really good,
true.
It's a really interesting thing for parents to think about. Like, how did your parents, who maybe weren't like, as together, like we're saying, or as with it, but how did they portray that they were? Because doesn't that portrayal like instill confidence in your kids and like make them feel safe? And
No, because it made me think when I was like 25, I'd be like, yeah, now I figured it out. I'm at this spot. Now I'm like 50.
You're not 50.
And I can barely wipe right.
You get more practice than anyone though with that.
Still can't do it.
Wiping? True.
Let's
4
bring
times
that
a
up
day.
as a subject. Do you guys fold or is it just a cluster?
Well, I used to fold till I got a bidet.
Yeah, I thought we're going.
And it's
Are we
just
back
like
into
a-
bidet conversation?
Then it's just a wipe dry. And
Wait,
we're
so
done.
you guys feel like it happened like it was a one-time thing? It wasn't like a slowly over time thing for you?
No, I
Mine
have
was
an
slow.
experience. I have an experience I'll tell you about. I worked for a very large company that was probably traded publicly on the stock market. And
GameStop.
I worked for GameStop is what I'm trying to get at. No, we had meetings in the morning and you listen to these meetings and you had the head of this distribution center. You had the head of this manufacturing facility. You had the head of the corporate facility. You had all these people that are like big time, blah, 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 right? Whatever their title was.
CE whatever.
CE and then other numbers and letters. CE 125. So basically all these people would be on this conference call and then me, this completely uncollege educated idiot that barely passed high school, was like, hey, why don't we do blah, 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 blah. Like I'd throw out an idea and it was like, wow.
Like everyone loved it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that solves so many of our
You should be
problems.
an adult.
It does all these things. I'm like, none of these guys know what the fuck they're talking about.
I made that up.
I have no idea if it's possible. I have no idea if it's real. I just have an idea. And apparently, if you go to college for 6 years and you get these master's degrees in various things, it's also a good idea. So I was like, nobody here knows what they're talking about. And it made me realize like genuine thought and real conceptual understanding of things is not something that's taught in schools. And it made me realize doesn't matter what company you're talking about or how many groups of people there are around you, they don't know what the hell they're doing exactly. And in fact, I had this exact same thought when I saw at the inauguration, I saw newly elected President Biden, I saw Barack Obama, I saw Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and I saw
Beyonce.
I saw J-Lo.
J-Lo.
I saw this group of amazing human beings and Americans, and I thought, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They have no idea what they're doing up there. They're still figuring it out, just like all the CEOs and the big heads of various areas.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with
Beagle, let's go to Beagle. That's when I realized it was literally in some random meeting, one morning meeting at this big company. And it's been that way ever since. I go to various groups and I'm like, you know what? They don't know what they're talking about.
I'm going to take over.
Right.
You walk in the first day on the job.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
here's the
taking
trick.
over. I'm
I have no
leaving.
idea what I'm talking about either.
What do you think, Jake?
What's the answer to
Yeah.
my answer to Trent's question?
Yep.
I would say, like him, it's kind of been slowly over time. But one thing is probably when I started to have kids. I realize parents don't know what the heck they're doing. And they're winging it every single day.
Yep.
Here, I have a question for you guys who have kids. Do your parents
Yeah,
give
shut
you a
up,
lot
Trent.
of parenting advice?
Nope.
I feel like this is more evidence that parents have no idea what they're doing. Because I had kids and I thought that my parents would give me all this advice and they don't. And I talk to my friends and they all say their parents aren't giving them
Yeah.
any advice whatsoever. So I think it's because they know that they don't know anything about parenting and we know we don't know and nobody knows anything. So they just say, I don't know.
And
I tried
most importantly-
some stuff and it didn't work. Why don't you just try some stuff?
Most
too?
importantly
So-
is they know that you now know that they never knew anything.
So
Like they don't
You're on
even
the
make an
inside.
attempt to give you tips because there's no tips because no one knows.
So I think the reason for that is most of us were a little bit rebellious in our teens growing up.
Nope.
Probably to where our parents like didn't maybe
Hated
think
each
that-
other?
Yeah. Or
Us?
or hated us. Didn't really like think that we cared what they thought, and that just kind of carried into adulthood. So they're just kind of like, well, I won't say anything then. I get a little bit here and there from my parents, like, well, you're doing this, and I'm like, yep, and they're just like, cool.
Cool.
So
I thought there'd be a lot more advice with parenting, and I just don't get anything from anyone.
You know what I get
Yeah.
is more like, yep, that sounds about right. Like, hey, my son's pooping in his pants. So my dad was just like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
He pooped in his pants.
I did that today.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I get a lot of that too. I'll be like, yeah, they did this today. Like, yeah, I remember when you did that. Or you actually did this. And I'm like, oh.
Can you give me a helping hand here? No, just the fact that I remember. That sounds like enough advice.
Well, another big part to this that you're bringing up is I think it is different now than it was obviously for us growing up, because what were our sources of information? It was our parents, our friends. We couldn't Google or YouTube, like anything. I was watching Home Alone.
Do you think you would have
this
had
year.
enough presence as a kid to like YouTube "Are my parents a dick"?
You're gonna get some interesting things to pull up.
Do my parents have a dick?
Do a Google
Are
image
my
search.
parents
Go for it. But I was watching Home Alone with my kids, and just the scene where the older
Trump
brother
came in.
is talking to Macaulay Culkin about the neighbor that's shoveling like the walks and saying he's a murderer and he uses the salt to turn the bodies into mummies. And Macaulay Culkin's he's like 8 years old in this, and my daughter's 8 years old, and she's like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because she's able to look up things on her own. Mm-hmm. That wasn't an option for us growing up, like in any way. Yes,
I think that we knew that they weren't using salt to turn them into mummies.
Oh, really?
Maybe I'm the only
Phil
idiot.
did.
We had no choice but to believe that
believed-
Jake's uncle invented candy necklaces. It was
Or
the
that
only
Devin's
choice.
cousin never pooped, so you could see the level of poop in his skin.
Or
Did I
that
say that?
Yes, you did.
I guess all I'm getting at is now, because there's so many other sources of information that aren't your parents or family or friends, kids are gonna
Which
know
is
that
terrible. How many
that their
arguments
parents are
did we
full
have
of
for
crap
a
at a
week,
much
2
earlier
weeks
age.
long, where we just fought about it for 2 weeks, or a whole camping trip, and now it's like, I'll just Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be like Harry Connick Jr. was an alien. That's a good topical subject, right?
Yeah.
Is this a same
No?
way?
Are you
I don't-
asleep?
Yeah, Jeff.
I'm sleeping right now.
So you're saying
What I'm saying is-
you think things have changed because of Google.
Someone
Well, just-
could say something totally absurd, and we would argue about it for a month, because we would never really know unless someone opened an encyclopedia or went to the library and actually
Right.
looked it up on microfiche. However, nowadays, my daughter can pull her phone out and go, was Harry Connick Jr. a lizard? Oh, no, he wasn't. Okay, yep, the end
Yeah,
of
like
discussion.
before you finish your sentence, they can look it up.
Or she can be like, that's not proper parenting, Dad.
Yeah, I'm going to sue you.
I'm emancipating.
But yeah, I'd always go to my parents if I had a question about random things, and they would lie to me, and or just like, about whatever.
That's why we
now
thought
we
they
just
knew
ask
everything.
Alexa or Siri. Or,
That's why you always have to talk about Nancy Ocasio-Cortez to really affirm that you are Democratic.
Pelosio-Cortez.
And you do not.
You know that there's
Nancy
a lot of people
Pelosi.
who would call anyone who doesn't say her name right racist, right?
Why would that be racist?
I have no idea, but people say that. It's like,
Listen,
Yeah, I can
like
see.
there's the
I
there's
can
the
see how you could say it's disrespectful, but why are you racist?
I have no idea.
I
But
think
there's
they
people who
will,
say it.
and I'm glad they will. Like, I mess
Want
it up
something to make fun of?
semi-intentionally, and I hope people get on there and like, I hate this guy. He's a racist. Blah blah blah. I love it. Like, I want people to say that about me.
They'll text Jeff.
text in today.
They'll call Jeff at 3 a.m. Phil's gonna effing die.
I'll be like, yeah, I'll give you his address.
Here he is.
He gonna die.
But first, we're going to go out to lunch.
All right, Trent. Next question.
It's not a question, more of a statement.
Let's make a statement.
Stayed away.
Stayed away.
I was thinking. Well, I saw your kids earlier today,
That's
and I realized
unfortunate.
that like abortion needs to be legal through the age of like 8.
That's what
Like
made me
it's
think.
way. I mean, they were cute, but it's
First
like
thing
we
that
could
came
do
to
without
mind.
a couple of these.
Wait, you saw my kids?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Made that part
okay.
up. Where would I have seen your kids today?
So you think that abortion should be legal after, not
After
after
10th birthday.
After birth.
not after conception, but
Sorry.
after
after
Did
the
you
second
say-
trimester.
after
Yes.
So you're saying-
reception.
saying third,
Should we call
third
it that?
I'm
trimester.
saying it
We call
at
it
least
after you
through
see the
junior
kids.
high.
Also known as birth.
Just
Yes.
birth.
As
Gotta get closer.
reception.
Junior high?
I'm s- yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good age too.
High school?
I've met a bunch of high age kids that we could go without.
But you're
High
fully
school.
in support of all adults not being aborted.
No.
Okay. Oh.
So I'm pretty much here for the purge, is what I'm saying.
Oh. So
So some
How does
adults
that look?
are some adults considered okay?
So do you think?
Abortionable?
Yes.
Aborted.
Do you think the
Yes.
purge
Abortable.
should be government instituted, or should it just happen naturally, like amongst people?
I think we're here for COVID. Like we should just root for Team COVID.
Once
in the
you're-
Super Bowl, COVID's gonna win.
Once you're 18, is it still your parents who get to choose if you're aborted?
Ooh, good choice. I don't know. I haven't
Who
thought
makes
my
that
murders
decision?
out yet.
Okay.
He's not to the level of Dexter yet.
Okay.
The name of this episode is Trent's Preconceived Convictions of Murder.
Yeah, who am I going to call to hide a
The
body?
tables have turned.
That's valid.
Trent, the question is, who's Trent going to
Trent, who would you call to hide a body? It wouldn't
I'm
be any
telling
of us,
you
I
guys.
guarantee.
You're gonna go home and
Yeah.
tell your wives the one thing. You're lying about everything else.
You're gonna call one of your friends named Ho or Joe or Mo or something like that. Some other murder guy.
That's a murderer's name.
Joe or Mo. That's
So
a
I,
murderer.
so I actually heard pretty
Marv.
recently, and I'm butchering this number, but I want to say they were saying something like 120 million millennials have been aborted.
Thank God.
Here-
Can you imagine more of them? and we're in that group.
120 million more.
I have an interesting thing about this. I was thinking about it on the way up here. So it's really easy to talk about like it's this weird concept, and I hope you guys can understand this, and I'm not too crazy about it. So you have the idea of aborting a child, right? And it's easy to make a decision of not bringing a child into the universe, right? But what's harder to imagine, what's harder to think with is how do you justify the child that never existed? Does that make sense to anybody?
Justify. What do you mean?
Like
It sounded awesome,
that
but I have
never
no
got-
idea what you're
that
talking
never
about.
was born.
So it's easy to
like the sound
remove
of
a
your
child
voice.
from the universe that never existed, right? Because they never were
How?
born. We removed them, right?
How?
You were saying 120,000 or whatever.
How do you
millennials.
remove someone who's never existed? I don't
120
understand.
million.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so it's easy to say I don't want to create this effect on the universe, right? But how can you then turn around and say the effect that these people, these 120,000 people that have been aborted, 120 million people that have been aborted, what effect would they have had on the universe? Does that make sense? Like, what would they have changed?
We
How do we
clearly
not
need
know?
120 million more people.
Yeah.
Listen,
So
why-
first
why
off,
maybe what Jeff's trying to say is, if we had that 120 million, would we have had 3 more Einsteins?
how many?
Right.
How many more?
Or would we
Alexandria
have had 3 more
Ocasio-Cortezes would there
like
have been?
Ted
Trumps.
Bundys?
Right.
Yeah.
The likelihood of more 10 Bundys over Einsteins is
Okay.
much greater.
That is
Maybe.
exact. That is
and
exactly.
I'm here to lose
So
at
isn't
least 3
your
Einsteins.
argument essentially just the more people, the more chance we have of having cool people? So
'Kay,
just increase the
statistically,
number
yes.
of people. Period is always good.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. So how
That's
do we
your-
not know that these millennials were not like the Elon Musk of the Earth's crust, where they
Sure.
don't want to venture into space, but they want to dig down into the core of the Earth, and they're going to discover like amazing
people that
things
live down there?
right? The mole people, and then there's
The
also the
lost
person.
tribes.
Like, there's all these things that could have happened, but we never discussed that because we killed them before they were even born. Trent,
This thought brought to you by Where Are You When the Edible Kicks In? What the fuck are you talking about?
I was gonna say this sounds like a
What the hell?
this sounds like a weed discussion.
yeah, are we really getting into the abortion discussion this late? in the-
Oh my gosh.
here's what I'm trying to say, dude. What if everyone that was
listen.
like aborted was like still alive, bro? That's what I meant to say. What if they're still alive, dude? Like, what if?
So
So we're
I'm
just letting him talk.
so I land kind of in the middle on this argument, because if I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of kids that people killed.
Yeah,
which
let's kill
that's-
60,000
That's
of
exactly
them.
what they did, right? They
No,
killed
no,
a bunch of kids.
No, that's 100% not what they did.
No, they did.
I mean, they were.
100.
If you think abortion is murder, then yes. If you're stupid,
I
then yes,
I
they
didn't
did
say
that.
it was murder. I'm just saying.
No,
it's,
you said they
it's-
killed
said
them.
killed a bunch
So
of
yes,
kids.
you
Right.
did.
I'm saying
Okay.
it's technically.
Let's
No,
let
technically it's
What's the
not.
difference
let's
between
let
killing and
let's
murder?
let Phil's
In this
Technically,
context.
it's not.
let's
In
let
this
This is
context.
going.
okay. Time
well,
out.
you can
Kids.
kill someone and it's not murder.
No, I'm saying in
Dude,
this
You're
exact
right,
context.
but this,
what's
but
the
this, yeah,
difference?
120 million people you're saying are killed. Therefore,
So what I'm
let's-
saying by killed is they are physically removing the life from them. Is
no,
that,
so they stopped the pregnancy. yes,
Trent.
they well the
Listen.
They eliminated
listen.
the ability for that
Let's
thing to grow
Living
into a
thing.
human being.
let's allow Ron Paul to channel through Phil.
go ahead.
Let's listen to what Ron Paul has
all
to
right,
say.
Ron Paul,
You got
tell
some-
me.
you got
all right.
Okay.
So I land in the middle because on the one side I'm like, yeah, it's killing the baby. It's killing the baby. On the other side, I'm like, I don't want 120 million more people. I don't even want the people that are here. I'm on
the
Trent's,
father of three.
I'm on Trent's side where I want a little bit more COVID in life because that would be cool. So,
It'd be
But
nice
yeah.
to have AF Canyon not so crowded.
Oh yeah,
it would be like it's ridiculous. But on abortion, like in general, like I kind of land in the middle too. Like I see again, like, oh, does this child have rights or does this mother have rights?
But do
I
you
think they're both good arguments.
Do you land in the middle between the first trimester and the second trimester, or the first trimester and age 10?
I'll chime into that. So I think that if you
Where in those small
if
areas do you lie?
if you masturbate into the drain, that millions of lives lost is what I'm saying. So
Right,
Trent,
yeah.
stop it.
Yeah, you are the Hitler of your shower. Yes.
Please stop it. If your shower could communicate back, it would
Who
be
beats
yelling.
off in the
It'd just be
shower?
screams.
Is that old
Is that
technology?
a question for everyone here, or just
Well,
rhetorically?
probably just the married people with kids who don't have privacy in their own bedroom, I guess.
Is that
I
a new?
answered my own
Is
question.
that a new question?
What do you need privacy for?
says the guy that
Because it
Hey,
does
kids,
more
come
than
watch
scratching
this.
it, yeah.
The guy that what?
doesn't like humans.
Exactly. Exactly. Who needs humans anyway?
Listen, I think that overpopulation. Anyone that believes in it has never driven through Wyoming. I've lived by that
Or-
my whole
or
life.
75%
and it's
of
100%
Utah.
true.
That's 100% not true.
Yeah, if
No.
you believe in overpopulation, you've never driven through Wyoming.
There's a bunch of ocean that nobody lives on either, you dumb fuck. It doesn't mean people are going to live there.
Can you call me Jeff, please?
No, you dumb fuck. We can't say the real name.
So in a way, I agree with that.
identifying
Like
as
even
Jeff.
California, we would describe California as super populated, but most of it is empty.
But nobody wants to live.
Yes.
in those
Right.
places.
The desert area,
But
yes, is quite
nobody
empty.
wanted to live in Las Vegas either. But
The
We,
Mormons
we built
handled
a
that.
They
dam
made it.
so that
So-
people could live there.
there's
made it.
there's plenty of space. But the point I'm making, I don't
No,
want the people
It's
where
not
I
about
want to go.
Space. It's not about space. It's about, can the Earth survive the shit
It's talking
we're
about
doing to it?
It's talking about like resources, is what you're saying.
At the end of the day,
Well,
I think we've
resources,
always said that.
And
yes.
also having like nice open space, like not only having the crappiest deserts be the only places people aren't living. It's nice to have national parks, a big open
Okay.
area. And
Montana is offended right now because it is beautiful.
no one's saying it's not. I'm
No, but
saying we
Mont-
should have more of it.
But Montana, more people are moving to states like Montana, Idaho than a lot of other states.
Yeah, from California.
Yeah, because no
Sure.
one wants to live in California.
I agree with that. Okay, let's move on. Next subject.
Except those people.
Those people.
That's
We're doing
actually
this
the
2
end.
weeks in a row.
So thank you for.
Nope, Jake.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jake.
It's all right. If I'm forgotten,
No, go ahead. I was
the first
timing it
time.
based on we didn't like stop in the middle there, so and we did. So go ahead. We still got time.
So the thing that I wanted to ask was: is technology making kids worse? And
In what way?
many of you may know a guy by the name of Colin Karchner, who was kind of a leader in the cause of stop giving kids smartphones, mainly because young kids' access to like free access to the internet is kind of like destroying the children. And so the question, I guess, is how will the tech age affect our future leaders?
Well, here's a question that I have. Do you feel like we in this room had access to internet, like to all the data that was available on the internet at the time?
Not our
growing
whole
up?
lives. It came slowly over.
But
time.
even the easy access to get to stuff wasn't even until after we were in high school. Like you had to know how to really drive the internet when we were in high school.
So you're saying smartphones
And
is
you had to
probably
wait.
when you'd say like
No, I would say like the start, like because even the initial thing of Google was just like a bunch of shit you had to sort through. You couldn't pop up like an immediate answer
Yeah,
like you did
it wasn't
now.
until like early 20s. that
Right,
we
right.
really-
Early
Had-
20s, 1920s?
2020s.
Oh, gotcha.
2000.
So I
Our
think
age 20.
I think technology is ruining kids. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, so and I'm not tooting my own horn, but we let our kids use technology less than I would like to because of my laziness as a parent. There's a lot of times where I'm like, I just want to put the third movie on for these kids for the day because like I've had enough, you know, but I don't because I know that it's not good for them.
And by third movie, you mean Frozen for the third time.
Frozen for the third time, exactly. But I do think that kids who and I'm not a psychologist or anything, and I haven't like studied everyone's kids whether they have or haven't, but it just makes sense that if a kid is being raised by technology, that there's going to be some issues there. Social issues is a big one, like just the ability to cope with criticism or being made fun of, or
shut up, Phil.
How to look for exactly
you dumb.
How to search for validation, things like that. If you're not gaining those skills because you're on the internet a lot, I think it's bad news for the upcoming generation.
But isn't it bad? Is it bad for all of us though?
Well, yeah, because if we all get to the point where like we're the only ones that work because all the younger generation is so socially useless that they like have a breakdown halfway through their first day, but you can't fire them now because there's some law against that, and so you have to give them some counseling when they come back and things like that. Like I think that's kind of where we're headed. Like,
but I feel like that comment is the exact same thing as someone saying like the Beatles are not good music and they're bad and they're the devil.
Yeah,
You're just
the Beatles
old.
do suck.
Stop.
It's recording music in a trash can.
Stop.
I can
They
see
suck.
I can see that too. Like oh, you're just afraid of this new technology.
You're just
or
an old
whatever.
man.
I am an old man, but I do think that, especially for kids, that it's kind of like weed. Like for an adult, weed.
Don't give your kids weed.
For an adult, weed is not really a big. There's not a big consequence to using weed, right? It's not very addictive. Most people can put it down or not use it or be fine.
As a commentary,
but for a kid using marijuana, it can actually permanently ruin their brain.
Right.
Well, I think with technology, like a little bit of the weed thing, like if you don't figure out how to figure out something besides just an instant answer, then your brain isn't going to go like in a problem solving mode ever.
Right.
So that's what we're doing to kids. It's like instant answer. Why would I care about learning anything in class if I can just Google it? Like every answer I've ever wanted, I could Google now.
I can just ask Siri what my compound fractions are and divide them by whatever number.
But that is also
it.
why they teach kids Common Core math first now. Has anybody ever done Common Core math?
No.
Oh,
That's
you
what
mean
my kids are
the
doing.
incorrect math? Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's the more difficult way. It's not the shortcut way that you're supposed to do it that way.
Yeah, it's the YouTube you have to subscribe to math.
Yeah, well, it's basically find a number that's close to what you're trying to find. So it forces you to think, okay, what should this number be around? Yeah. And then you narrow it down. So it takes longer to figure out.
Doing a simpler equation and then adding the details.
Yeah, so like if you need to find 963, how many hundreds go into this, how many tens, and so on. Yeah. And so that's
how would you
one
use
aspect.
that in an everyday life?
Because you're learning how to problem solve, get close to the
There's
answer
more
before you
deductive
double check
reasoning
the
in it.
answer.
So what you're saying is they're having these guys do the Common Core, the more complex math, so to help them learn problem solving skills that don't necessarily deal with mathematics.
So they teach them that first, and then they'll teach them the regular way that we learn math.
The correct
Or that we
way.
learn, you call it the correct way.
I
if
mean,
you
one of
want,
the
but-
things that Zobel actually taught me was that there's more than one way to do math. You can do it many different ways.
Didn't you say meth?
Oh,
You guys keep talking about like he was doing meth the whole time. He was just smoking a bunch of weed a
it
lot
was
of
just
the
the
time.
one time that he got arrested for. No, but he did say smoking, injecting. No, but seriously, like there's a bunch of different ways to do math, not meth. Okay. Anyways,
I got you.
apparently, okay.
I heard it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I guess I'm just saying there are efforts to force kids to think more rather than just find the answers. Because
Also, they get tested and they don't have their phones and devices on the test, so they have to actually learn this stuff to pass the test.
Yeah, but the whole like it's only a pass fail. Like we don't want to hurt their feelings. It's gonna
Yeah.
like set them back in the future.
participation trophies.
Screw that. Kick that
I
kid in the
agree.
taint.
Screw that. But I'm just saying, it's not school is not just an instant answer thing now. They still have to learn the stuff so they can pass the tests.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they're
I'd
not
say
giving
social
out-
skills are the
Is this
biggest
not the
issue.
same argument that our parents had about us? Like these little pussies aren't doing shit.
Just watching TV.
Watching
Right.
MTV, that garbage all day
Saturday
with
morning.
lesbians on it.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Back in my day, I had to walk back and forth to school up hills both ways. that kind of thing.
With no shoes in
With
the snow.
no shoes in the snow.
You
in
know,
the
it's really
summer.
interesting though. So I've recently been recording my grandmother, who's 80 years old now, because I want to get her on
Creepy.
tape talking about her life.
Super creepy.
It's cool, but
Creepy cool.
she actually had a life like that. Like she had a life where like she was like sneaking into the neighbor's house to get some food. Like her dad was really drunk all the time. Like,
She was
it's
robbing
pretty
the
crazy.
neighbors.
But let's ask what she did to drive her dad to alcohol. Like, why is it always him?
Is that the real question?
Yeah, why is it always him?
Cut.
I actually think
fault.
Yeah, why was she wearing such a short skirt?
Hold on.
Okay,
hold on,
continue
hold
the
on,
cut.
hold on.
Continue
That
the
is not
cut.
what I said.
Continue the cut.
Unshun.
And everyone quiet.
Reshun.
Restart.
Let's go ahead and start the podcast with that one since I screwed it up last week.
Good times. Anyone else on Jake's question? What do you think, Jake?
I think social media is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smartphones giving kids access to like TikTok and stuff that it's just completely destroying their self-esteem, and they're demanding, likes and comments and shares and all that stuff.
I think it's a little bit less about the likes and comments and shares, and I think it's more about the constant stimulation. What I mean by that is like you swipe up, you instantly get another piece of entertainment. You move your thumb and
That's
swipe
more
up
than
again.
just children. That's adults that are like.
I know, but
Okay.
Yeah, but
I
it's
think when
worse
you
in kids,
when
of
you
course.
when you subject a child to that, they instantly get into this mindset of like stimulation.
Okay, next thing,
stimulation,
next thing, next
stimulation,
thing, yeah.
stimulation. Then all of a sudden, and I'm not joking about this, all of a sudden you go out into the real world, these kids can't even keep track of time. Like they think an hour is like 15 minutes, and they don't understand that time has a certain, because they're constantly being ping, like on their I don't know what the word would be called, but like there's something in their brain that's being hit of like a positive experience, like entertainment.
They don't know how to be
Endorphins.
bored.
Right. They don't know how to
Endorphins
have
and dopamine.
downtime.
Right.
So like my kids will say interesting things where they're sitting there not doing anything for about 10 or 15 minutes, and they'll be like, we've been sitting around for an hour. And you're like, nowhere near an hour. First of all, what time is it? It's 3:00 in the afternoon. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's like 6:00 at night. And like, yeah, your timing has gone all haywire because you're getting this constant entertainment. You know what I mean? This constant feed, like inflow of information. So I think that's the main thing with adults and with children.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen that show Black Mirror on Netflix?
Yeah.
Blackfish, yep.
Isn't it like really creepy how
Those
close some of those things are to our actual life? Like,
Which one?
well, just like for example, there's a guy who, and obviously this is some elements of this are hopefully very far out, unless you live in China. But
I hope.
the guy pretty much runs on a treadmill or a bicycle or something to generate energy.
That was a crazy
And he
one.
goes home to his room, and his room is like screens, and the screens are like bam, 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 bam. Do this, watch this porn, watch this thing, watch this advertisement. It's like you're just like completely inundated. And just from what you're describing with your kids, it's like, how is that really that much different? Other than they've just convinced them that they don't need the walls everywhere because they've convinced them to just look at this thing all day. Like it's kind of the same thing, and it's a little bit. Worrisome.
And I think some kids do get to the point of like that Black Mirror episode where their constant daily actions equate to getting a video that they can watch or gaining points or likes or whatever you want to say. Like, I know one thing when my kids have gotten too much screen time is like they want to work towards getting more screen time. And they're like, can I do something to do this? Can I do something to play on this more, or can I get some money to do this, or whatever they want to do? It becomes an addiction, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people have talked about this, I think, quite a bit. So what do you guys do to offset it for your kids?
I beat my kids.
So I just let my wife handle the parenting anyway. So she actually does a great job. And when I said like, oh, I don't want to let them watch another movie today, it's because she's doing
You didn't
that.
have a choice.
No, yeah, she's telling them get off of it, and I'm like,
We
oh,
all
yeah,
know
I,
who rules the
I am
house.
a good parent too. Like, but
I'm a good
she's the one-
parent because I'm married with someone.
Exactly. That's what it
I
is.
married a good spouse.
Yeah.
So basically, what I do with my kids is I let Phil's wife take care of them.
she just emails over, Jeff, you need to be doing this right now, which she'd be glad to do. By
No,
the way.
I'll
She's
tell you what I do.
So concerned about everyone.
I have my kids earn. We call it Kindle time, even though they have iPads, which is way more expensive than a Kindle. I'm just going to tell you that much right now.
It is.
But they call them Kindles. It's like, getting a macaroni and cheese and calling it Western Family. But anyways, I let my kids get Kindle time by doing extra things. It's like, yeah, go pick up the apples out of the yard, or pooper scoop, or go go clean my room, or do something that you shouldn't normally have to do. And you can earn some time to screw around on the computer or the tablets, right? That's what I do. So they have to do some real world interaction in order to earn that stuff. So they realize that you're doing something in the real world to do this thing that is a game, instead of the game becoming real life.
It's a privilege that should be earned.
Right.
Are you guys' kids like in the same room as you, like pretty much all day? Like
Pretty much, yeah.
No,
Well, we
when
know
I'm-
that's the case with you, Phil, looking
Well, I
around
work
here.
from home, so they're
Yeah.
at school during the day. But yeah, when they're home,
they're just like on top of you,
Yeah.
right? I was talking to my mother-in-law about this because I'm like, I feel like the older generation, that wasn't the case. The kids went out and were gone all day, so the parents weren't sick of them by
Playing
the end
in
of
the
the day.
creek. Right. Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that's true. Like that's what they were doing. So,
Yeah, how many times did my mom was always like, go play.
yeah.
Go
See you
outside.
later.
Yeah.
Check in a couple times.
I would go to school and I
me
wouldn't
know
come
where you are.
home.
Check
I wouldn't
in
come home
tomorrow.
till sundown, and
Yeah.
we'd be playing in the crick or the creek.
You would not.
Yeah.
No, how much sunscreen did you have
With
on?
Joseph.
No, you wouldn't.
You will not believe this, but I found a part of the creek that was completely shaded.
Good cedar.
That's where I would play.
only place.
Yes.
That's where I would play.
All right, so we're going to end it a little bit lighter. Anthony Fauci has not necessarily recommended, but said that it's obviously a better idea to wear 2 masks than one, because it
To go on
obviously
record,
2 is better than 1. I would play this video, but it's another video.
to go on record, I'm just going to say F Anthony Fauci. That's all I have to say. This
So-
guy.
So, but there's several
why?
people, as we saw earlier. This person in Congress, whoever it was, had a double mask. I think it's kind of becoming a thing now that if you're really cool,
I
like,
have 2 masks.
you're wearing 2 masks.
Oh.
Has anybody else seen this or
Let's just go right to 3.
You
Yeah.
only have 1
No, I've
mask?
never double wrapped.
never double
So,
wrapped?
so I think that
I've
in-
never single wrapped.
I think that
Honestly,
I'm not doing that.
Honestly, who wears a condom nowadays? Like nobody.
like really, guys, really, right?
No, you don't. Your
Jeff
nuts
has
are
to for the
huge.
next 60 days.
No,
Yeah,
No.
he's got to be careful.
that implies he's having sex in the next 60 days.
Guys, I'm right here. Don't talk about me.
Jeff's still not here mentally.
I'm right here, guys.
I thought that the Fauci comment about 2 masks was regarding the latest strains of coronavirus that are now kind of not as receptive to the vaccine as the regular one.
Let me play it. It's not very long.
Well, here's my contribution. 2 masks. This is the dumbest contribution ever.
Fauci says it's common
So if you have
sense.
a physical covering with one layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that
it's
it
common.
likely would be more effective. And that's the reason why you see people either double masking or doing a version of an N95.
They're just better people. That's all there's to it.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Buttigieg
they care
just got
more.
it going on.
They care more about their kids.
You see, the
than
first
we do.
mask doesn't match your outfit, but the second one
Oh,
does.
Joe Biden too. So I love this video because look at this. Researchers say wearing a surgical mask and cloth mask provides maximum protection. But I love this next one.
It meant to say maximum style.
To date, the CDC has not recommended wearing 2 masks. But it could be helpful in places where it's difficult to socially distance,
Oh.
says this news company. So
You know what I think is best is just wearing a plastic bag over your head.
So the reason I thought this was so absurd is because you remember early on in this pandemic when this became like a polarizing issue between Republicans and Democrats. This video came out of this guy doing this experiment in his backyard where he was spraying alcohol through a mask to the fire. And he'd like stand back and he'd shoot it and it'd make a big flame, and he gets closer and closer and he's like 2 inches away spraying through this mask, and it does nothing. And he moves the mask, and he's got like a dummy behind to simulate the spread of COVID, and it like lights it on fire, and its face melts and everything.
Okay, I'm going to go on record and say nobody saw that. But
Oh,
go on.
really?
Yeah, go
You've
on.
never seen? We got to watch that.
Oh no,
No, we don't.
Oh, no.
We actually don't.
All right. Anyway,
Factually,
It's only an
we don't.
hour long.
Anyway, in this video, it was like a MythBuster style thing to show that a single mask,
Right.
stops virtually every droplet from a high pressure like alcohol spraying can, which arguably is a lot more than like your cough or sneeze.
They were claiming in this video it stops every single droplet.
Yeah.
Well, he was showing it like he's holding. So this thing's
Yeah,
lit
but a
on
droplet
fire.
of water is going to be a little like thicker than like a little molecule of COVID,
So-
right?
Well,
Yeah.
right. But, well, yes and no, because COVID, in theory, only spreads through a water droplet. Alcohol is actually thinner than water. So, in theory, it should get through even easier than water.
Explain it, Dr.
So,
Phil.
when he's spraying this, anyway, it's showing that one mask is virtually impermeable by droplets getting
Right.
through. But now they're saying that, oh, you should actually wear more than one.
But I thought you've argued that you don't think masks are effective.
I don't
at
think
all.
they are in spreading.
But you're saying this thing proves that one mask, it's almost.
I'm saying one mask. If all you're thinking is if you put a mask over your face, is it effective alone? Just in that.
How do you not feel that's effective at all, though?
What do you? I didn't say it's not effective at all. I'll get to that. So if you're wearing a mask, obviously it's effective for water droplets to not get out of your mouth, right? But
Okay.
as they explained early on, Fauci and the Surgeon General and the World Health Organization all early on were saying that masks are not helpful. Don't use them. We actually think that in a lot of cases they make things worse
We've
because
talked about this so many times.
Right.
that They reneged on that.
Yeah,
and
they
we
said like
shouldn't
they
have
were
said
worried
that.
there was going to be
Hey.
a run on masks,
Right.
so they didn't do it.
Watch your mouth, Devin. He said reneged.
that was Jeff or Trent.
It was not me. It
Trent
was
would
not
never
me.
say
Right.
that.
So either way, that's a problem, right? Either one, they didn't know what was going on before, or two, they lied to the American public.
They've already came out and said they lied.
right. Well, they didn't come out and say we
Yes,
lied.
they did.
They
No.
were wrong.
They,
Is what
they said
said
no. They didn't even say they were wrong. They said, well, at the time, we didn't want everyone to go buy
Right.
masks. That's
the
why
So
we
what
said
the
that.
fuck did I just
It's the
say?
same thing.
You said that they said that they lied, which is not what
They
they
may
said.
not have
Oh
used
my
those
God,
exact
Rand Paul! What the
words, but
hell is happening in your
That's
head?
what they were saying. They were saying we were trying to discourage you from buying masks, so we said it's not
Right.
effective.
Right. Here's a question for you.
How
Okay.
is that not deceptive?
If the droplets on the outside of your mouth are so contagious and terrible, right, that you need to put 2 masks, and probably 3 masks is even better. It shows that you're a better human being than just 2 masks. Like, if you need to cover your mouth and face so much, why is the testing of COVID require you to go 1 inch from the blood-brain barrier to find the particles? Why can't you just sneeze or spit a little bit of saliva into it to test for COVID?
Have you gotten tested?
They
I
do-
have gotten
they do-
tested, actually.
They do spit tests.
Yeah.
I know they do, but you have to fill a vial up.
No,
Yeah.
it's
It's
not
not like
fill
a little-
vial. My
It
buddy,
is a lot
my
of
buddy Bill. It's not that.
Okay,
it's like,
my buddy Bill's made up. Let's just start with that.
It's.
just
it's
rhymed
that-
words.
It's that cap full right from his Mountain Dew thing. It's not. You're not filling a vial. Like
This
you're
cap
spitting,
for the listeners at home. This cap on Mountain Dew is about 1.5 cups.
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, it's a 55-gallon drum turned upside down.
So
It's the cap on a Coke. It's not that much.
So there's probably different tests, but the one I did was a vial. I had to sit there
No,
and
it is a vial that it comes in. At no point does it say fill this to the top.
So yeah,
When you give a urine
It
sample, do you
says-
fill it to the brim and give it to
so
them?
it actually
time.
says fill it to this line, and I actually had to sit there and spit for like 5 minutes, like
goodness.
to get enough in there.
I do know
Are
it's
we
enough.
really going over this again?
It's enough spit that they won't allow children under the age of like 3 or 5 or something like that to do it because they can't.
Because
My
it forms bad
4-year-old did
habits.
it
Kids
during
shouldn't be
summer.
They
spitting.
wouldn't let my kid do it. They
Oh, yeah,
said it's
okay.
against the
So-
rules. My
It was
3-year-old.
a lot of spit. It's a vial that you have to fill up to a line.
So here's my point, and
line was
and
up
and,
here.
and everyone tell
So
me how
it's
wrong I am.
probably-
Anyways, I think the
This
point,
big.
the point of doing a lot of spit or going up is just because they want the test to be accurate. It's not because
No,
you have to
I
have
think
that much.
I think that if you dig far enough in any mine, you're gonna find some gold. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that goes back to Jake's technique of if you keep testing, you'll find positive results.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's true.
And thank you. I didn't think you were going to say it again.
Let's stick a needle or a swab almost penetrate your brain, but not quite. Just make
Trent,
you think
this
you're gonna
thing's
die.
freaking huge. Look.
What thing?
Oh, sorry.
You got a picture of what?
Your tiny iPad is not.
Don't worry.
I'm worried.
So to be clear, none of us are wearing masks right
Yeah,
now.
that's not that.
That's
much,
not
I feel.
very
I am,
much.
I am also wearing a mask. It's called a.
Do you think this is on
So look-
a giant's
Screen.
hand?
Look to the left of that. See where it says spit to hair?
See this right here? This is
That-
literally
Trent-
one of my best friend's company right here.
I know. Do you know what that blue thing is? It's not your spit. That's the chemical you put
100%
on
understand
top
it.
to mix it together.
When you spit into that, it's like you don't have to do liquid to the top of that. Like you can spit into that to like the foam and everything's up there. You don't have to spit all the way to the top of that.
And it says on there, no bubbles. I just did it.
This exact one is the exact, like my best friend owns this company.
I know, but I did the test, and they tell
Wait,
you
Trent,
to spit to the line.
I own this company.
Well, second.
I own this
Okay.
company. Which
Second
one of
best
us
friend.
is your? Oh,
Still second.
Let's go.
Next.
All right. So, spit in the cup, wear 5 masks. This is American Forked. We're a group of friends who have been friends a long time. We disagree with each other. We think each other are freaking morons, but we
know they're stupid.
we
as hell.
still give each other beautiful kisses at the end of the night.
I love you guys.
Mask free.
Play the hate game that you'll get here too.
Just wait for that hate game episode. Next week.
Wow. Yeah. Are we?
Let's start right now. Let's